wise decisions for our community. Please give wisdom and knowledge and understanding to the board and to the elected officials, Father. We just honor you tonight. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
If you'd like to speak, please fill out a card, turn it into Becky, and it'll come up to us, and we'll get you in the beginning of the meeting so you can get in and get out. Becky, with that being said, can we do a roll call?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry. I apologize, Miss. Our treasurer is on line. So Assistant District Attorney.
Present.
Seat 1,
Here.
Seat 3,
Present.
Seat 5.
Yeah, President.
Seat 2's on his way. He was stuck in traffic.
Always. Right now, I'm sure.
District Engineer
Here.
and District Manager present.
All right. So do we have any,
I have him here.
do we have any additions, deletions, substitution to this agenda by anyone? Thank you, Becky. None? From the attorney, from engineer, Becky, any additions, deletions, substitutions?
No, sir.
None being said, on that, can we get a motion to, no, we don't need a motion to adopt some of the agenda, Can we get a motion to to approve the meeting minutes for July 21st and 22nd for 2023?
Chair, we do have to approve the agenda.
This agenda?
Yeah,
Okay,
even though there was no deletions, we still have to approve it.
all right, so
Yes, sir.
can we get a motion to approve this agenda this evening on August 26th, 2026?
Motion to approve the agenda.
We have a motion on the floor, we have a second.
Second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carries, the motion has been approved for the agenda. Also, being said, thank you, Becky.
Yes, sir.
Can we get a motion to approve the meeting minutes for July 22nd and the July 21st of 2026?
Recording in progress.
While the recording is in progress.
Motion.
We have a motion on the floor, do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, aye. Motion
Aye.
carries for that. So now we'll get into our public comments. Arthur, is it Gallagher or Gallagher?
Gallagher.
Gallagher. How you doing? You have the floor?
Yeah, I just wanted to keep an eye on the development of this design for the mail kiosk
Yes, sir.
and to make sure that it's community friendly. And I just think that the way that it's being set up now is punishing the community.
Gotcha.
And the other point was the signage for the sand mine hearing. Any of the signs that I've been seeing around town are illegible. I can't see when they changed the date for the meeting in town.
In town?
Well, the Z signs,
Yes, sir.
okay.
That's Hendrick County.
Yeah, I thought one of them was gonna be inclusive.
Yes, sir. As a matter of fact, go ahead. I'll let you finish your comment, Arthur. Go ahead.
My comment is that it was illegible, the one that's up the mail kiosk right now. The dates, couldn't read them, I couldn't get any information off of it.
Gotcha.
That's it.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Gallagher. So in reference to that, our county commissioner is here, but he's on a call outside. He's still in a meeting, but he did say, I guess Becky can bring up here in a minute, in reference to what they're proposing for the mail, I don't know, everything that they're gonna do, Mr. Gallagher. I don't know how friendly it will be to the community and how it's gonna affect, with the new stuff, with the old stuff. Is it gonna be one new thing, one old thing? I'll let Becky, take the lead on that. And then in reference to the sand mine meeting, that is September 14th at 6 p.m. at the Clueston Chamber, if I'm not mistaken. So, but we can let our county officials and their team know that it's not legible. And it'd be great for all of our team from our community to go out and support that. See how it goes. So with that being said, thank you, Mr. Gallagher. Do you want to speak on that right quick?
Yes, I can speak
Go ahead.
quickly on that. So the location in which they were looking for, it's right next to the old one. But in speaking with the county, I suggested in the location that they vacated the little schoolhouse, location there of the new mailboxes. Because it would be, long-term, it would be ideal if we ever had to move the old kiosk and put everything in that one location. Because right now, where they wanted to put it, they would have to cross the grass to get into it.
Well, my concern is the hours. They can't even tell us what hours it's open. They can't tell us when we can access it. And if security is the main concern for the mail carriers, it should have been addressed where the people who perpetrated any harm to them should have been punished to the fullest extent of the law. Not the community being suffering, having access to their mail in a couple hours a day. So if they want to design something, have the drive-in where the mail carrier doesn't have to be exposed to the vicious public.
And that's something that we're still talking about. Nothing, because if they still have to come to the board, they have to put a whole proposal before anything happens. They got the mailboxes. My suggestion, and this is what I've been, and I mentioned it to Jeff as well, was to use, like I said, the property next door. They can put like a double wide mobile home, prepare it like they do any of these other facilities, where we still have access to our mail on the inside, and she could be only in the back, and there's no conflict of interest, and it's open 24/7. So that's my proposal. So, but we gotta see what the county's gonna come up with as well.
So the other thing, just to let everybody know, is in times past, there was no agreement, right, in black and white, like there should be. So that's why we're waiting to see what they propose to us, so we can say, you know, of course, go through our legal team, go through everybody, see if anything, red flags, and, you know, get buy-in from everybody before we go forward. To make sure we agree and not wastefully spend money.
Well, I appreciate you keeping the community in mind.
Yes, for sure. Thank you. So we're moving on. Again, if you'd like to speak, please fill out a card. Mr. Estrada, if you would.
Good evening, board.
Good evening.
So, we're here today to ask permission to gain access into the reservoir for the purpose of filming a chapter on a series that the gentleman, Luis Aquino, has been filming. It's something fun, it's just something different. It's actually called Vaqueros del Pantano, which translates to Cowboys in the Swamp. And I invite you guys to check it out. So anyways, the purpose is simple. We just want to gain access. It's probably going to take 2 Saturdays. Gain access into the upland just for the purpose of filming. We understand that, you know, it's temporarily closed, and we have absolutely no problem in being supervised by the staff. We have no problems incurring whatever cost that takes. We don't want to put any burden in the community.
Sure.
We just simply want to gain access for something fun that's being done, something creative, something that actually is putting a small highlight on Montura, which I think is extremely positive.
Sure.
Ideally, if possible, it would be September 5th and September 12th. So anyways, I know we just got here, and with that, I don't know exactly what the process is, so I just wanted to lay it out there and, you know, see whatever simple avenue that we could take in order, you know, and again, it's just to film. It's not, you know,
Sure.
anything other than that. So any feedback from you guys or whatever else needed to be done, you know, we're really open, you know, to whatever's necessary to try to achieve that.
And Mr. Estrada, how much time frame? So on the 5th, are you looking like 3 hours, 4 hours, 20
You
minutes?
know, so it's, you know, it's difficult to give an exact time. There's a little bit, you know, it's like a tiny little movie, you know, there's gotta be set up, you know, drone, sometimes, you know, you have to retake. So let's say an average of 4 hours, to be on the safe side.
Per day?
Correct.
Oh, you'll find out on the first run, right, most likely?
Well, you know, this is pretty, you know, we're not necessarily professionals, so sometimes we have to retake stuff a few times, you know? at the end of the day, you know, we're trying to do it as professional as possible, but, you know, we're not movie stars, so sometimes things have to be done a couple of times.
Good. I encourage it. I've seen a few videos myself. I see a lot of the stuff that's going on over there. I think it is a plus for Montour, and a lot of people have complimented a lot of the stuff that they've done. So I have no issue. I'm for it. Anybody on the board have any issues, or Stephen or Becky have anything to say?
If any of that is gonna disturb the,
If I'm not mistaken, he
I
said
clearly
upland.
said upland.
Yeah.
We understand the issues, and that's exactly why I proposed, listen, we have no choice, we're not asking, give us the keys and let's go in there, whatever we want to do.
Upland, please, the GIS.
Once
no, I don't have any comment.
Yeah, I think Richard's always been an advocate of trying to open the reservoir, keep it open, so he knows the effects and all the things that have happened in reference to the wetland. He's very, very familiar with that. And nothing will bother that, right, correct?
No, not at all, and that's exactly why we said, hey, listen, we absolutely have no problems with supervision. We want to make sure, we're here to do something nice, we're not here to cause any problems, so we have absolutely no problem in being supervised.
Property appraiser. Any comments, Steve?
No, I prepare like a waiver, just throw it in front of Becky so Becky can give it to the guys.
Okay.
No, we'll sign it one time, we'll make it good for 90 days for that.
Oh, that's awesome, thank you.
So you have the board's blessing, just get with, have Stephen will get with Becky, Richard, and then make sure that the waiver's filled out, and Becky, whatever you feel needs to happen. As far as supervision, if you think that needs to happen, feel free. So we're going to just show a quick
He's actually
picture.
the star right there, he's the main character.
So, being that said, if you don't mind me to go off into a tangent, Stephen, if you would, as she opens this up, can you give, while everybody's still here and still has an attention span, can you give us an update, where are we at with riding inside the reservoir? Because I'm hearing through the grapevine, so to speak, is that we're allowed to ride on the uplands right now. So if that is the case, I'm ready. I'm born ready to get out there and get with it again. Can you give us an update of where we're at?
Sure, no, I actually have no idea.
Gotcha.
Yeah, the last thing I heard was actually a slightly fine legal point about, we have one residential property purchaser who has an easement, our easement obviously, that runs through that private property, and those are concerned about people riding down this one access road. But I don't recall seeing an update on how far, really the environmental question is how far the wetlands go, right? What the wetland delineation is. And I don't recall seeing an update on that. If there has been, I apologize, I'll do that at the next meeting. But in worst case scenario, I'd have to ask Bear, he might have a good idea. But, no, I don't recall seeing an update on that,
Becky?
Okay, so, the last update that we, obtained, and it was with Bear, because Bear came out to do environmental stuff. I wanna say in the beginning of July, he had to do some more testing for South Florida water management for the permit. Just to see how the growth is, and, they agreed. But we are still subject to putting the barriers around the 700 acres. So nobody can go, and then the other, would be creating new trails on the uplands.
That we understand.
And, I think those are the two most important things.
So to answer my question that I've been being told by my community members, that people can go out there and ride right now.
Yes, they can. They are allowed to go in there as long as it's with a horse or walking. They can't take any four-wheelers.
That's what I'm saying, motorized
Yeah,
vehicle.
no.
I'm being told you can go on the uplands on motorized vehicle as we
No,
speak.
no, you cannot.
Okay, that's why I need clarification. So can you find out for us when and what we need to do?
Yeah, I can, again, it's still under, the environmental part.
But it is a process, but can we
We
actually
can see how far we are into that.
follow up and keep,
Yes, sir.
keep asking? Because we have a lot of people that really want to know. But right now, some people in our community are saying that we can ride right now
No, sir.
in the uplands that's been approved.
No.
Because I wouldn't even think, Mr. Mata, that wouldn't even come in as a permit condition. You know how when they give you the permit, they have all those, I mean, like, something like that would be granted affirmative. It would be that we have to figure out, oh, by the way, based on these permit conditions, clearly it's okay, right? And then I'll give you an email that says that it's okay. But
So-
no,
But that's why I want to clear it up, because a lot of people are saying certain things, and I haven't heard anything in concrete of that. We definitely,
Yeah, you're correct.
okay. So again, on the record, we're not legally allowed to ride there yet, until we meet all those conditions.
Correct.
So that's the other thing we want to know, is what needs to get done so we can meet these conditions and make those things happen. Because if I'm not mistaken, can you zoom that out a little bit, Becky? I don't know if most people in the audience can look. Can you take it to your left side? I can see Cabbage Farm.
Oh, yes.
Becky, how many you gotta zoom out a little bit. How many acres is the reservoir as we speak? How
We
many?
have 2,400 acres,
Okay, can you
close to
click,
25.
good. Can you click on our box right here?
Here?
Yes, the green box. Can you show the two uplands from one to the other?
Yes. So
So everything on dark green to your left? To the left, Becky, with the cursor?
no, I know. I'm sorry, it just beamed on me over
It's all right, just go to your left with the cursor so I can show the people. Go left. You see the dark green area? Keep going to your left, right? That dark green area, that's considered an upland, meaning it's higher ground. You can ride in there. We can do forward, and notice the brown patch from that area to the next upland, which is dark green. Well, that light brown area is a wetland that is protected. Está protegido. We can't go into that legally. So the idea is, of course, with the community's involvement and all the active outgoing people that like the horseback ride, ATV, walk, all those things, as Becky said, is we eventually will have to mitigate a pathway in between the one upland to the other upland and mitigate that so we have access to the other upland. So, and then as you look around, there's tons of other wetlands out there, but if I'm not mistaken, we were trying to get this first upland, and then second, if you go north, Becky, with your cursor, that area has a lot of uplands as well. If you look at the wetland mapper, you will see,
I'm gonna bring that up now.
you will see the delineations. So for those that don't know, a lot of us, including myself, my wife who's been out here since a long time, her family's been out here since 1979. All of them rode horsebacks out there, ATVs, buggies. That was a way of life that we did out here. And now we're going to try to do our best to mitigate some of this stuff, and then use this as it was intended, us coexisting with Mother Nature, teaching our children and our grandchildren that it can be done. We have a special thing here, and that's where a lot of people have gotten upset, even moved away from Montour because of some of the stuff that's happened, that we don't have access to that like we did in times past. We just want to show you. It's another thing, if you're ever buying land on Montour, that's the first thing you need to look for right there. You need to look at that wetland mapper. If your land has any of those green, orange, and green things, you might want to think about it, because you're going to have to mitigate with the state of Florida. So if you notice all the shaded in green, those are wetlands. Most of those are protected, correct. So if you notice that area, like I showed you, that goes from one upland to the next one, it's pretty good. Excuse me. Sorry about hijacking the meeting, but I just want to share with everybody. To be able to operate in all of this area, we have to figure out a way to mitigate this, to prevent people from going into these protected areas, right? So that's quite a bit of land, right?
700 acres.
So that's quite a bit of land. But the great thing, let's just say for instance, we cut it off here, right here for the beginning, almost like have a staged approach for us to be able to have access, amphitheater, showing what a saw palmetto berry is, you know, certain type of things, having maps, so we don't, having maps, having landmarks, so when you get to this area, you look at your map, Mira, we're right here. That area right there is protected. So, and then being very diligent and vigilant, might even need security that we don't have this taken away from us. I can't afford to have this taken. This is a precious gem that if we open this back up, we're going to be on a whole different scale. So we need to protect this as much as possible. So if you look, there's a lot of protected area out there, right? We have a lot of wildlife, we have a lot of deer, we have a lot of pythons out there now. There's a lot of different wildlife in this because we haven't been there in how many years, Becky? 3?
No, 19.
It's been that long.
The end of 19, beginning of 20, COVID.
Wow.
Yeah, March of 2020.
So everything that we have heard, the wetlands that have been disturbed, she's pretty much been healed.
Yes.
A lot of good growth has come back. And you guys, they go out there on horseback. I see a lot of horsebacks out there. So, you know, I just wanted to share with you the big plan, but at the same time, us being strategic and putting it in phases would soften the blow, right? And so, good stuff.
So, thank you for going into that, and I'm sorry to take up a lot of time on that, but this is like something like really important to a lot of people.
Absolutely.
So, we know that achieving this has a cost. And the next thing is, well, I don't want my money spent on that, and that's understandable. What we would like to know, if some way, somehow, we could, or a group could privately achieve fencing the area, and then we'll figure out maybe putting a guard, or, you know, I know that for a period of time we had a security up front.
We did.
So, I mean, it's been, I didn't realize, it's been 6-7 years.
I didn't know it was that long.
And I dearly miss it, and I tell you the truth, I ended up here in Montura because I like riding out there. And then I fell in love with Montura. And I don't want to fall out of love with Montura. I like to go and ride my ATV and, you know, just have fun, take my kids out there.
Absolutely.
And it's something that, you know, not a lot of communities have. I think it's, and I understand, listen, I understand that we have to protect the environment and we have to be responsible. So, I mean, it's not an overnight thing. We have been talking about this for years.
Yes, sir.
And I understand there's been a lot of talk.
Yes, sir.
And a lot of talk, but little action. And I do understand it's a massive area. But I would like to know how we can take it to the next chapter where if we don't have the money or you guys don't think it's appropriate to use whatever funds we have, is there a possibility for private entities to try to make this work?
I think that's always been on the, something that I've proposed before. Again, a lot of this, why it's taking so long is because it's environmental. You have agencies that you have to go through, that kind of stuff.
No, and that's understandable,
Yes, sir.
but I know that's almost there.
We're getting, yes, sir.
So this is where I'm getting at.
Yes.
If we already know, hey, which I've overheard, if we can protect it, if we can divide it, we're there. So,
yes.
so what I would like to know is, what is the avenue that we need to take in order to expedite it?
So one important thing
Yes.
is when they give us their blessing, we have to, before that, we have to propose to South Florida Water Management everything that we're going to do.
Okay.
And then we have to check all those boxes.
Okay.
And once they say, hey, they squirt off this perimeter, like they said, they use this type of material, whatever. They're not telling us how to do it. We have to present to them how we're gonna do it.
Question, so I know you guys meet once a month.
We do.
Is there, what would be the way that we could get updated or get informed of what we could do, or rather than next month? What's the correct?
Steve, you got anything? Good question.
What you're describing is actually not that different from the way that associations handle it when they develop and they have the wetlands.
Yes, sir.
They live with them, right? They fence them off,
Absolutely.
et cetera. And so the thing that immediately comes to mind is that we're gonna get a permit that has the district as the O&M, the operation and maintenance entity. Normally, the way that somebody in my position says, don't do this, is because even though there is an active group of, residents who pitch in order to fund the initial construction, the district still stays as the maintenance entity. Therefore, when those things start deteriorating, then the district all of a sudden bought it unintentionally. The way that usually gets resolved is to carve out a piece of it and make another entity the O&M entity. So this is the fine legal point, is how you can have somebody volunteer, you might say to donate time, equipment, materials, sign off, write a check, which we can accept, and put fencing up, and then as long as we are okay with the long-term maintenance, that's the only thing. So the district would more than likely accept fencing off as a way of protecting the wetlands, right? They probably wouldn't care either way who wrote the check, because they would still have us as the O&M entity for the long term. It seems like an easy thing.
So do you think it's almost like workshopping it until we figure out with the community involvement and people that want to invest to make this happen?
Yes, answer yes, and then the other part is typically you want us to do the contracting. This is the other piece, right? So somebody might say, oh, my brother-in-law can do it.
Sure.
No, we would want to have it something like a competitive bid, and where that complicates it, it moves the decimal place over sometimes, So that's the only thing. Because even though you think, oh, this is easy, right? I have 1 million linear feet of fence in the back of my house from a project.
Sure.
It is. Okay, but then you just have to find the right contractor to do the work. That's the only thing.
Excuse me, Mr. Fermero, you're on as well. Would you like to chime in? I know you've been with this from day one. Would you like to chime in or give any insight on this?
Yeah. Sure. Just so that I'm clear, the question is, under what circumstances can folks be allowed to utilize the reservoir area again?
Yes, sir.
If that's the question, then, this is part of what we were arguing with the district, when we had to get a permit and mitigate for some of the prior activities. It's really like so many things in life, it's all about money. We would have to create some sort of fencing of the wetland areas to keep them protected. Because as we've learned in the past, with the ATV activities, for example, some of the best places to ATV are in the mudflats, which happen to be wetlands.
Absolutely.
So they're almost like it's a magnet. Those are the fun places, the ATV, not always the up one. So we would have to fence those areas. And I don't know how many linear feet we're talking about, but it's miles.
But let me ask you, just,
Fencing and signage.
but can we do it in a phased approach? Because nothing that I've heard from the district said we had to do it all. Like, you know what I'm saying? Nothing said like, say for instance, we can do 300 at one time and then, have, when we have enough funds or whatever, we go to the other part. Because nothing from them has told us that we had to do the whole thing at one shot.
They haven't, but they're saying if you allow access, and by the way, they don't care if we allow access to the upland areas. They're just saying you have to show us how you're going to protect the wetland areas if you open it up again.
So that's,
I don't know a good way to do it. I mean, I do a lot of these projects.
Yes, sir.
I see where instead of fencing, what people do is put a berm and a canal around the protected areas, so it's hard for ATVers to get in. So, by the way, this is a problem all over Florida. ATVers get into these conservation areas and tear them up. And I'm working on a project now in Miami-Dade where it's a big problem in between Card Sound Road and US 1.
yes, sir.
Several thousand acres, and they get in there and So, I represent a rock miner, and he is, putting up berms, a 6-foot berm and a ditch, instead of fencing, because fencing is wildly expensive.
Yes, sir.
So there's a place to do it. Again, even doing what I suggest is, it's a sizable project. I don't know, have you put up there's an aerial map. I can share my screen if you want.
What,
I have,
so let me ask you,
there's,
so, you know, I like thinking outside the box, Mr. Primero. I'm looking at this one upland right behind us right now. That's a pretty good sized upland that we can start without having to go to the other uplands. Is he trying to say that's 700 acres right there?
Yes, this is bigger, along, he's gonna show them.
Go ahead.
can I share?
I'm a lot, there we go.
You have it now. It's with you.
Do you see this area there?
It's not showing us your screen yet.
We don't see your screen yet.
It'll come up now.
There we go.
How about now? You see this
Yes,
area?
we do see it. Yes, sir, we see it now. Can you enlarge it?
I'm going.
Just hit that little box. Okay. There we
No,
go.
it's because I used the arrows to show me what.
Yes, sir, we see it.
All right, so this is the map that was created by our environmental consultant. It was used, as you can see here, this is the impact map. So these areas, I don't know if you see my cursor.
I do see it. We do see it.
So these areas where there were impacts, and you see the legend here in the lower left-hand corner.
Yes, sir.
So secondary impacts means it was torn up by ATVers, so we have to preserve this area permanently. But this is pretty much the map that we work from now to see where the wetland versus upland areas are on the property.
Can I ask you something while you're doing that?
Mhm.
Everything within that yellow, is all of that 700 or is just which area are you talking about? Because what I'm trying to say is if we could carve off that bottom wetland down the middle and start to the left, right there in that area, we could start in that middle area first all the way to the left. How many acres is that? Is that possible?
Yeah, this piece, which is in the, I guess it would be the southwest corner
Okay?
of the reservoir, it's the largest upland piece.
Yes, sir?
And, again, there's no problem if access is limited to this area. The problem arises if folks, once they get in, go outside this area. We don't have the ability to police it. I mean, we tried putting security guards there on the weekends and had limited success. But that's the issue. How do we keep people in the upland area?
Well, that's what I'm saying, but if, that I have figured out a little bit. But if we focused on that one area, how much acreage is that one area that you have your cursor on right now and to the left and to the bottom right there where we have Central County? How many acres is that?
Altogether, it's roughly 323 acres.
So do you see those two damaged areas to the right beside that pond? Correct.
Right, this area, they call it wetland preserve. It's
Correct.
protected.
So if you go up a little north of that, where the yellow is, and you draw a line to the one corner right there where that pond is, if we had that whole area and to the left, if that would probably be a good starting point for everybody in this community, we would be doing new trails, and then we'd have to figure out how to, whether it be by rope, chain, I don't know what type of fencing or what type of rocks, however. But if we could focus on that area, John, I think that's a start. I think that's a pretty good start. And people will still enjoy it.
Absolutely. And we can do trails here too to, facilitate it. So, and again, I'm no construction engineer here, but I'm thinking that, this side, we already have the berm, so this is okay. This is the the western side.
Yes, sir.
The part we have to protect is the northern piece, where if you dug a ditch along this upland perimeter here,
It's another idea,
the
right
borrow
there.
area, you have a ditch and a berm. You got your borrow ditch and then the berm, so you don't have to infill any fill. You just use the fill from the ditch. It creates a pretty nice barrier, because if you just have a berm,
We're listening. You froze?
Yeah.
So again, I don't want,
district
okay, go ahead.
accepted a ditch and a berm. And, the ditch is big.
It's awesome.
Wasn't there another wetland here though?
Yeah.
There's a small piece right there, you can see. There's a small piece he has right there, yes,
Well,
sir.
this is the damage, but there was another one, I think, on the other map.
There's ways to do it. It's gonna,
Yeah.
the board will have to allocate, money to do the work, but it's doable.
Well, we're having very good success with a lot of people that want to invest and want to help. So for instance, let's just say for instance, it's nothing difficult to get backhoes out here and be on upland, do a ditch, throw that pile of fill to the one side and do that burn. That's not difficult at all. That is doable, and all you're using is petroleum and excavators. And there's a lot of people that have that out here, so that'd be a great project. So again, those are the type of things I'm telling the community that we need to workshop, get everybody's buy-in to make it happen, because I don't think it's that difficult like people think it is. But again, I think that would be a beautiful start right there in that one area until we have to mitigate to go into the second upland, which is up top or to the right. Thank you, John.
Yes, sir.
When do we, let me answer the big question, because we were asking it here in the room. When do we know when we can do these type of things, and what do we need to provide to the district so we can get the blessings from the district and get the whole community nice and riled up and excited again?
We can do it now. We have the permit, this is it. Can you see the permit?
Can you share that with me? Can you send it to my email? And what is that permit saying in the gist? What is it saying? That we're authorized to do what?
Yeah, can you see it?
Yeah.
So basically,
Well, I can, I'm sorry.
yeah, here it is. So, it basically says that we have to restore some of the impact of wetlands and stay out of, and not cause any more adverse wetland impacts or water quality impacts.
Okay.
Later on, I think, there's a gentleman, I spoke to a gentleman who wants to do some cattle grazing out there.
Yes, sir. He's talked
I
about
told
that.
him that the issue there is gonna be water quality.
Sure.
That, how many cattle per acre. There's a formula you can use. I'm not familiar with the specifics.
Thank you. All right. I appreciate it, John, and we'll get back to you soon.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So just in closing on this, I would just say get a copy from Becky on what the permit says and try to brainstorm what is the best ideas that we can make this happen, what's feasible, what seems like a good plan, so we can present it to South Florida Water Management, and then we can get everybody in there, because everybody's gonna want to be a part of it. Be a part of this, but also have a big game plan how we're gonna make this happen. Because I'm pretty sure we're gonna need maps, we're gonna need landmarks, we're gonna need this, so we don't, get ourselves in big trouble. Because the next one will probably be pretty hefty for us. Good stuff. Anything? So if you could can you make some copies? Can you make a few copies of that so we can distribute it to our landowners and guests here? Any questions? Any questions, Mr. Ringo? Thank you.
Okay, and just to recap, as far as getting access, what's my next step? Get with her?
Yes, just give it her, fill out some type of waiver form, and make it happen.
I'll be here early. No, I gotta come for something.
Okay, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anybody else want to say something, please, fill out the card, bring it up, and we'll make it happen. If not, we're gonna go into old or new business. Thank you, everybody. I want to say, Mr. Taylor's here?
Mr. Taylor's here, Chair Mata, and
Yep.
he's going to
final moment, he's gotta get in there and.
And liaise with Becky on the tag.
Okay,
So, Mr. Taylor, just go ahead.
so Mr. Taylor's here
You want to
because I believe the board wanted options how to incorporate or kind of get out of what we have now, the 298 district, so. We'll turn this over to Mr. Taylor.
With all the lively discussion that Mr. Santiago was showing, you know?
No, it's not 8:30 yet. It was 8:30. 8:32. Jeff comes from Riviera. and
He's
he's-
he's getting set up.
Come on, Jeff.
Go ahead, John.
Make it make sense.
Chair,
Yes, sir.
John had a comment.
Go ahead, Mr. Romero, sorry.
Well, I just want to let you, so, Mr. Taylor is an attorney based in Tallahassee
Good.
who has experience in incorporating land and turning it into a municipality. So that's why he's here. There's been a lot of discussion by the board over the last several years about can we do it?
Yes, sir.
If so, what is it going to take as far as money, time, and effort?
Yes, sir.
That's what he's going to address with you today.
Understood. So we have some new residents and then we have some long-term residents as well. A lot of people talk about Montour Ranch, right? What we can do, what we can't do, we're being double taxed, HOA fees, all of that stuff, right? So we're kind of stuck because this was done by legislation, this 298. So we just can't say, hey, you know what, we closed the shop and, you know, we're not gonna do this anymore. It doesn't work that way. Or we can't say, hey, we're gonna become a city, or we're gonna be like what Lehigh Acres started or whoever, because there's a lot of water districts and in unincorporated places as well, like Immokalee and water and sewer. So there's a lot of areas in Florida. So our options, not sure if you look at your taxes like I do, we're going to tax ourselves out of here. Meaning, as our property values increase, right, that's the county, and then we still have to pay a fee to Central County as well on top of our taxes. So if you look at it, the way things are going and the way things are being appraised, our taxes will be getting out of control. So that's why we're trying to look at other options, if possible, to be maybe unincorporated or something. Improvement district, something else where we're not, having to pay here and pay here. So right now, if you don't understand, you might say, well, Monturo's got a lot of money because look at everything that's going on. The more residents we have, the less money we have to spend. So every property, whether it's inhabited or not inhabited, pays the same amount when it comes to us. We're not talking about Henry County, we're talking about this water control sewer district. So that's where we're trying to see options, if possible, we can get out of this and how much it would cost. Mr. Taylor, the floor is yours. I'll stop talking.
No, you're good. I'll take the floor. We're gonna get a zip drive and get it loaded on her laptop. But it's so good to finally meet you guys.
Thank you.
Obviously, we've had a lot of conversation with Stephen and John. John, thank you for that very, very flattering, but slightly inaccurate representation of my bio.
Okay.
I did take the LSAT, but stopped, knowing that I didn't want to ultimately practice law. But I work for Shoemaker Advisors. We are part of Shoemaker. Lupin Kendrick is a big law firm. Tampa is its largest footprint, followed by Sarasota, and then its original home of Toledo, Ohio. And we have a slew of other locations throughout the East Coast as well. Shoemaker Advisors, we are the lobbying, government affairs, government relations, strategic service arm of the law firm.
Gotcha.
That doesn't necessarily mean all the law firm clients are our clients. It is obviously a good nexus if they've got a client that does need legislative assistance, but we operate independently as well as a general purpose lobbying firm. So I've been doing that for just over 4 years. Prior to that, worked for Hillsborough County. I'm born and raised right up the road in Tampa, Florida. It's where my heart is. That's currently where my wife and my 4 boys are.
Good deal.
I appreciated the invitation earlier. They're at church right now. We attend Tampa Covenant Church where I'm an elder. And so obviously faith runs our household.
Good.
Permeates all the way down into my vocation as a lobbyist.
Good deal.
But they are mad at y'all that I'm here right now, not with them,
Absolutely.
at church. So they extend their grace to y'all. But worked for Hillsborough County for about just over 7 years, where I was the government relations director. And so that task with taking my 7 elected county commissioners and taking their state and their federal priorities to Tallahassee and to DC.
Sure.
Prior to that, worked for a county commissioner. Prior to that, worked for a state lawmaker. So that is a mouthful to say. I've been able to see kind of how the sausage is made. Locally, how it works on the local level, how it works in Tallahassee, as well as DC. Because much of what we're going to talk about today, and hopefully we're going to be able to get that slideshow going up, is we're going to talk a lot about process. Because Stephen has done a good job of providing me a lot of context, a lot of dialogue that you and the folks behind me and the folks that are at home right now have had about the future of their community, and potentially kicking the tires of what it would look like to incorporate, or what it would look like. Well, maybe we amend the current bylaws of your charter.
Correct.
Or the third option, again, we'll talk about it, is engage your county commissioners as well. So I'll go over those 3 options.
Gotcha.
And at any point, please, I am yours all night.
Okay.
Please stop me, and happy to answer any question. So again, I just want to make sure that you guys have as much of me as possible.
Appreciate it.
You got one?
I believe this is the one that you have on your, that one?
Yes.
Okay.
So what I'll do, just so we don't lose time, because I want to respect everyone's time, I'll go backwards a little bit in my presentation. So I was actually going to end the presentation with a portion called For Your Situational Awareness. This is going to be no shock to you up there and even behind me, but we've got a couple of big political factors that are going to play out in November. And it's going to be a variable that everyone is going to need in this room to consider as well. The big one, we obviously got elections. Regardless, we're going to have a brand new governor. It's either going to be Byron Donalds or my now former colleague, David Jolly. And then you're going to have a new state senator. You're going to have a new state representative. And so those are going to be avenues. That's part of the process.
Correct.
Should you choose to go down the first 2 options, which is either full incorporation or amending the current charter. And so those are big factors. We can guesstimate who's going to win those. I think we have a strong idea who's going to be your new state senator and your state representative. The good thing about Ms. Mello is she's already knows this district. She's already your state representative.
Correct.
And so it's going to be a nice progression up to the Senate. Governor's race, we'll see how that shakes out.
Sure.
As we all know, the numbers favor Republicans statewide.
Sure.
But it's an off year for Republicans in terms of it's a mid-year after they take over the White House. History proves that the incumbent party tends to not do well that following midterm election. We'll see how that shakes out. But the good news is whoever does win,
Sure.
our firm does have very strong ties to either way, because we will start through a local bill process, and that is going to be engaging your state senator and your state representative, because those 2 are the ones that incorporate your state delegation. And it's nice that you all only have 2, because Hillsborough we've got 13, and sometimes you got a lot of cooks in the kitchen.
Sure.
It can make legislating a little difficult. So it's going to be working strongly with them. And I don't assume that those discussions haven't already been had over the past year or years. So I'm not trying to imply that anyone in this room hasn't had those conversations with those elected officials. You are a rock star. All right. Thank you. All right, that's me, you know it. So a little bit about Shoemaker Advisors. You know, I told you about our affiliation with the law firm. We have a lot of former elected officials, reference David Jolly. We have a lot of former mayors, a lot of county commissioners. What's good about that is they have a lot of subject matter expertise, because again, what we're going to focus on a good amount tonight is process and the sausage making of policy. And they've lived it, they've done it, and so they are a phenomenal resource. And so those in our firm that aren't a former elected official, we used to work for elected officials, and so I already gave you my bio. But in the state of Florida, for Shoemaker Advisors, we obviously have our Tallahassee office. I do state and local lobbying. So as you know, I live in Tampa. So I work basically out of Tampa office, Sarasota office. In fact, I spend more time in the kind of greater Manatee, Sarasota area for my local lobbying practice. And then, of course, naturally, that 60-day sprint that we call session, I drive back and forth up to Tallahassee.
Right.
And so, but we've got offices in Tallahassee, Tampa, now St. Pete, Sarasota, and we're going to be opening some other jurisdictions in the South Florida area very soon. That's our footprint. All right. So, based on my conversations that I've had with Stephen and John over basically the past 8-10 months, well aware of kind of what this community is looking to talk about, what they want to look at in terms of options, kind of kick the tires to see, is this realistic? Both realistic in terms of the legislative lift, the time, and the money that it is going to take to invest in this long process.
Okay.
And so the first option I present today, of course, is the full enchilada, you know, pursuing full incorporation. And so what myself and what we typically do in our firm is, you know, I'll rope in another colleague of mine that has good tentacles on subject matter, and they will be a part of the team as well. Even though I might be QB1, they'll still be QB1B. And you also get full access to all our advisors in our firm as well. If I can't answer it, we'll get someone that can. And so what we'll do is we will begin that process. We will roadmap what it is for full incorporation. And so we will deal with the legislative process that is going to be bound, is going to be dictated, it is going to be prescribed by Florida statute. And we'll, on the next slide, we'll get into that. Right out of the gate, it's a feasibility analysis. And so that is not done by me, that would be done by a third party. I do have, you know, I can provide recommended firms that do just that. But that is a cost that cannot be skirted around. That is where we start, right out of the gate.
You got a number for that, rough estimate?
I don't. I have an idea, but I don't want to
We need that
be way off the marker. But you're probably.
Can you give us, Jim, can you give us a range, like, you know, 50 to 150, or 100 to 200, or
I think
ranges that you can give us? I know it's hard to come up with this figure, but.
Yeah, I think a good medium mark is probably going to be 50,000, just from the numbers I've heard. But again, that ranges from the size of the community and all that they need to do to execute that feasibility study.
Makes sense.
And then we'll begin working on, all right, we want to incorporate, we gotta look at what makes the most sense for your community, for the structure of your government. You know, we've got a myriad of options, but we can look at other like communities that we'll get into in a second that have just done that to show, what kind of council-manager relationship would be best.
Sure.
Work on the actual local bill that we will need to come up with, that we will need to file, that we would need to present before your state delegation. And we will handle all, that is a prescribed process, that local bill process. And that, again, is going to be for incorporating or amending your current charter. It's a mouthful. Any questions?
We're on board with you.
Perfect. And then that will go
Can you
through.
talk about what specifically is involved with the feasibility analysis? Like, what feasibility is being assessed?
Well, I don't have that info just because I don't perform feasibility studies that would need to be done, provided by a third-party firm that you would consider. But I can surely look into seeing what firm may be able to provide kind of those buckets that they would be checking off.
Let me ask you something. Mr. Taylor, and you might have it in your presentation. If you do, and I'll stop. Is there anything in your presentation, because we belong to a county, I'm pretty sure they have to get buy-in as well, right? And everything has to, that box has to be checked as well.
That's a part of the community engagement
Okay.
piece that is highly recommended because they're still your brothers and sisters down the road, and you do want their political buy-in because that is going to sway the state delegation. Because if they see, well, wait a minute, why is there a massive divide, between this independent district and their county and,
Sure.
and their commission? Required? No. Would that be highly recommended? Absolutely. Because again, what we're trying to show is, hey, this is a community led initiative.
Gotcha.
The people of this community, they want it. And we can prove it not only by the folks behind me, folks that speak before you regularly, you all, but the county as a whole. Because the state is, right now, again, I work in a political environment, and they're not too keen on wanting to create any additional governments. But, as mentioned before, we're going to have a new governor, we're going to have new leaders in the House and the Senate, with a new tone and flavor from the previous administration.
Yes, sir. Okay.
But yes, great question, and we definitely were going to tap in on that. In fact, let me just go. So here's the statute that's basically going to be our roadmap, and I know Stephen provided this in a memo a while back. But essentially, these are the buckets that we're going to need to check off.
Okay.
In terms of what the state is going to look at for our community wanting to incorporate. So they're going to look at compactness and contiguity. So the area's got to be compact, contiguous, and amenable to separate municipal government.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, population standards. Minimum population of 1,500. You guys are, where are we at?
We're on.
4.
Yeah, five.
Call it 5.
Okay. There was nothing that jumped out at me that I'm like, ooh, we don't hit that metric.
Correct.
Obviously, distance from existing cities, charter requirements, solid waste contracts. And the most recent example of incorporating through this statute, that's a very important caveat, through this prescribed process is the village of Indian Town in Martin County.
No, that's that.
And again,
Small community like this.
yep, 6,500. They have a council manager, form of government, land area is about 14.2 square miles. I represent a couple of cities, Safety Beach, Gulfport. Those communities are right about that size in terms of population. So that is going to be, that's kind of going to be our roadmap in terms of, hey, do we hit those numbers, those variables? Because there are examples, and I'm happy to email it and send it to you, of when this process jumps from the local up to Tallahassee, and it starts going through that committee process. There have been several examples. Back in 2023, I think there was 2 cities, or 2 communities that were looking to incorporate. Staff, legislative staff, asked EDR, which is a nonpartisan arm of the legislature that looks, again, as objectively as possible, and realized, okay, they don't have necessarily everything that is required. And so legislative staff asked for that to be looked at with lenses that aren't skewed one way or the other. And so we just need to make sure that we can hit that out of the park.
Mr. Taylor, let me ask you something.
Yes, sir.
In reference to Indiantown,
Mhm.
what was it before and why they chose to be a village of Indiantown? What was their reasoning? What were they before the village of Indiantown?
Their title of village, I mean, that was their prerogative to
Okay.
call it that. I do believe, and I'll look it up, but I do believe they were a independent district prior.
As well? Okay.
And a lot of people, in my neck of the woods in Hillsborough County, we've got a big area, many people may know that it's called Brandon. Most people think Brandon is in fact a city. It's not. If it was a city, I think it would be in the top 20 in terms of population. They have looked for decades at incorporating, because they're like, we're the size of the city,
Yeah, true.
yet we've got to drive all the way down to downtown Tampa, where county center is, to get all the decisions that we need through. So they have looked, and I mean going back into the 1980s. There's another growing area called Ruskin, which is right there on the water, south end of Hillsborough County, just north of Manatee County. They have looked into incorporating. It makes sense. That's where a lot of the growth is for Hillsborough County.
Sure.
And the driver, I just use those examples of, it all comes down to autonomy. It comes down to wanting to have as most control as the locals can. And of course, each community is a little different, but I think it also comes down to, we're not getting the services, I fill in the blank what those services may be,
Sure.
but we're not getting those services at the level that we think we ought to as taxpayers. And
Understood.
so we're going to at least look into, kick the tires of incorporating and what that would look into.
Okay.
One thing I will recommend, I think would be wise and prudent, is I've already engaged the Florida League of Cities. Just more of a, hey, here are the discussions I'm having. They are a great resource. Obviously, they are the political arm for cities that handle all the policy negotiating for the most part in Tallahassee. They've got a great resource where they will provide one of their staff to give, similar to what I'm doing, but give a big overview of incorporating all the different cities recently that have incorporated, all that went into it, much to the questions you were asking.
Sure.
And, you know, I do think that would be a smart, free source to tap into. Again, I've already spoke to one of my good buddies there who's on staff there, and no issues on getting that done.
Good.
So not to throw them under the bus if they can't do it.
Sure.
But I do think that would be a good resource
Resource.
for you guys as well.
Question. Becky, what's our acre count? Is it 8,000, 7,999 or something?
8,000,
I thought it was like 7,999.
it's in our,
So you guys are saying that you think we're like 5,000?
in residence.
Population.
Population, yeah.
So, no, I'm just looking at that number, because if you do 8,000 by 5,000, then 1.6 people per acre, which I think there's number there's, we gotta be at least 1.5.
Mhm.
That was the number I was trying to calculate, so we're at 1.6. If that 5,000 and the 8,000 hose,
Mhm.
just so you kind of understand that
Okay.
side of it.
Thank you. You good? All right, you good? So,
Yep.
this is, you know, I'm today kind of coming with three options for y'all to consider. This is option number one.
And when you say municipality act, so what are we looking at? Us like a public works department, like fire, police, the whole gamut, or what's this entail, Mr. Taylor?
It will be, much of that will be required, and to be expected.
So like a city, fire, police,
Yep. It is,
the whole,
you are a city, you are a municipality.
gotcha.
And so that's what that's what the state delegation is gonna look at.
Understood.
Because again, they have to bless it first, because again, the process is a local bill. You know, in Tallahassee, our state lawmakers, they file general bills that impact the whole state. This is obviously is for a very confined, specific area. And so that's a part of the engagement and discussions that are paramount prior. Because in my world, you wanna deal with all the fires beforehand.
Absolutely.
Anticipate as much as you can beforehand, before you go into a public forum and you begin that public debate.
Absolutely.
And again, not implying those discussions haven't been had with your current state senator and your current state rep, but you're getting a new state representative. So I would say, those are discussions that I would say probably need to start yesterday with them, just so they know, hey, here's what's coming. Because as I had in the slide prior, this process, I would love in my world to be like, yeah, we'll get it done year one. Absolutely. I wish I could, and that rarely is the case. I have every incentive for all my clients to get it year one, no incentive to drag it out. But as is the case in the political environment, you can anticipate as much as you can. Obviously, we have relationships with our lawmakers, but there are things out of our control.
Absolutely.
For example, about 6 or 7 years ago, our Speaker of the House, 3 days before session was supposed to end, he walked up on the dais and he said, "All right, guys, I'm ending session right now." And he gavelled out. So any bill that was being considered was now dead. And so we have to then go to the client and be like, so here's what happened, and naturally they're like, why didn't you stop it? Well, there's a lot of other moving parts out of our control.
Absolutely.
And so that's why it is realistically a 2 to 3 year time period
Understood.
to get it done. We'd love to get it done year one. But that's where this process, when you get on that on-ramp, it's, all right, we're committed to it, because it is going to involve, time, it's going to, sweat equity, and it is going to be, there's obviously a cost involved. I'm well aware of your budget, and totally, understand, there's going to be for you guys kind of, all right, what sacrifice do we make? Should we go this route? I respect anyone that gets elected and have to make those calls. So any questions on incorporating?
I think if it's around 50K, I think that's doable. I mean, we buy equipment, sometimes that's 50K. It's not like we haven't told Becky to put that on hold before. So 50K, that's doable. So I don't think this deters any of us.
That's just step one, though.
Oh yeah, that's just for the feasibility study. That's for the
Yeah.
feasibility study.
Correct. And that would be done by a third-party
Correct.
firm that does that. My services as the lobbyist, that would be, again, an extension of you guys. You all working this through, the process is separate from that as well.
Mr. Taylor, what about this? What about, like, a lot of people, hey, you know what? We're proposing this. Does it make sense for this water control district to even try before they invest a lot that they really, could be using on their roads and their facilities and stuff like that. Does this make sense? Do they even have a chance, or should they leave it alone? It's not even gonna be, approved. Is there kind of stuff like that can be done?
So I think that's a large part of what, what we're doing right now.
Gotcha.
Is doing a lot of that, pre-homework. Because again, we want to know the facts. We want to know, I don't know what I don't know. I have no clue if you're a senator, you're soon-to-be state rep, if they're like, oh yeah, I know what's going on there, it's a horrible idea, or, because for me, again, who's bound by a very particular process that we have to adhere to.
Sure.
It's my job, though, to advocate hard for the client to say, okay, I hear you, what are your concerns?
Sure.
What are your issues?
Okay.
And on the flip side, to let you guys know, if this was 2 years ago, and I was running a local bill, the year that our governor and Disney got into that small little minor spat.
Sure.
And so you all of a sudden, people in Florida, they began to know what a special district is. They began to know what an independent special district is.
Sure.
The difference between independent district. And so that then kind of got this spotlight on what is a control district?
Correct.
What do y'all do? Which again, good thing. I'm a citizen as well. Good thing to know. Okay, what is my taxes? Oh, they are going to this thing, this entity.
Right.
Is that a good thing? Is that good governance? Is it not? But there was a hyper focus then on those special districts, and we tried to navigate as much we could. They stood up a committee that analyzed all these different independent districts to say, hey, do we need all of them? What do we do? How many are dormant? How many are still very active?
Mm-hmm.
So
Sure.
to answer your question, a lot of that is doing that now. Because
Okay.
we have no desire to get in this journey with y'all only for it to fall flat. I mean, I can't guarantee an outcome. Every loss I hate more than any victory I get, because I feel that more than anything. It's probably just being the youngest of 6 in me. And it's also relying on the clients, relying on everyone up here. You are the boots on the ground for your community, knowing what, of course, your district wants, why they want it.
Sure.
And that helps us when we have those discussions.
Have you had some that failed, that you were working on and failed, and what was the reason behind it?
Well, that local bill right there,
That one.
sadly failed, and it stunk bigly because they were, it wasn't, to be fair, it wasn't little apples to oranges to what we're considering here, but it still was creating a independent district that definitely would have brought value to a particular area, but it was right. We could, again, something we would have no clue that all of a sudden this Reed Creek independent district that's been there for decades is now at the heart and center of policy for our governor and our lawmakers.
What's too much money involved in that political?
Pardon me?
What's too much money involved in political for that?
So,
Okay.
option 2, and we'll go through the options and then just open it up, conversation, let you guys do it. The second one is revising your enabling act. This process is going to be very similar to incorporating, in that we still will have to start with your state delegation, so your representative and your senator. And just, I'm going to say a lot, don't worry about remembering it. I'm going to also send you guys a calendar of stuff that I'm going to reference today that you can reference. But after the November election, most, if not every county has their county delegation meeting. And that is the time where, again, the community gets to meet their elected state representatives. But if there is a local bill that is being considered, that is when that would be considered. So that would be after November in terms of timeline, but we won't be there yet for this legislative session.
Correct.
But we can amend your enabling act to, add these specific services that you deem, aren't up to snuff, aren't what the community thinks where it should be. And so we would work with creating that new enabling language and work on putting it in bill form and working with your state delegation, going over, why, the how, going over all that with them. And then should that get passed out of the delegation meeting, that then triggers our track up in Tallahassee, where it then will get filed in Tallahassee, and it'll go through the House legislative process. The Senate has a different process for local bills. The process that we will adhere to will go through the House process. Unlike normal legislative channels, two bills, one filed in the Senate, one filed in the House, they go through the committee process. You gotta mirror them before they can then go to the governor for signature. This process will be through the House, the Senate. All they do at the tail end of session, they take all their local bills up on calendar and do a voice vote to cast it out. So our heavy lift will be on the House side.
Gotcha.
Does this one change the 298 at all, or it just adds more to that?
It would add, well, it's kind of, we'd be adding, because since
You can
that's,
see the add solid waste.
yeah, since
But
that
I'm
is,
saying, like, it wouldn't change the I guess the authority, the charter, and we would still be called the
You
298.
would have
Correct, correct.
Okay.
You'd be amending it though, right? It'd be some type of amendment to it?
Correct.
Okay.
And that's common. That is common for a lot of independent districts to do just that after time, after growth. So to have that amended, we of course would work with House staff. In fact, I already met with them about a month and a half ago, just making sure I have my bearings straight on what can be done, what can't be done, recent examples, how this may mirror other special district, how it is different from other special districts. So we, of course, would make sure before we even get this in front of the state delegation, we would make sure that, the bill form is written exactly the way that everyone intends it to be. And so, being that amending a current independent district as opposed to creating a new independent district or full incorporation, we think that's roughly a 1 to 2 year legislative lift. And again, all the pre-planning, all those pre-conversations to get us in posture, we will handle, working with staff to make sure, hey, we're on the calendar for this committee. I'm there. If you'd like to be there, great. We help coordinate that. Any client that is, of course, in Tallahassee, we handle their calendar. We handle taking them around, lawmakers. So we would handle that element. And again, our role, draft legislation, and deal with the strategy involved, the support involved. And again, much of which, Stephen has conveyed over just, I think, a willingness to see, hey, what are our options, because we would like to, potentially, see some changes. And so the most recent one, I think someone, you referenced it, Lehigh Acres, that was just done in 2015, and that literally went from a East County Water Control District now to Lehigh Acres Municipal Services Improvement District. And so those are the new core responsibilities that they gained with their new with their new charter, stormwater management, drainage, flood control, environmental issues, canals, bridges, parks. And then they had to create their government structure, 5-member, nonpartisan commission. You guys understand that piece of it. So in fact, that was one of the examples that was brought to me when I met with the staff director in the House to look into.
Absolutely.
Just noted, Mr. Chair, so that's basically a water conservancy plus, and notice they stuck with assessments. I say that because in the other version of it, we want fire, and I don't know that that's doable under an assessment system, if we want to incorporate waste management, fire, or let's call it roadways, just for the hell of it. Can you do it with just, can you recalculate what the assessment is? And now it's a massive assessment. No problem with the new law. The new law is going to pass, or they're going to, you have to collect everything in the form of a flat fee. So I'm just thinking out loud here. How is it you engineer that? You have to come up with a way to calculate whatever the lift would be in order to provide the services, and then in 1 year, like quickly, re-budget for that. So there's going to be a question later. I'm going to come back to it.
Well, that's a fair point, and if you're cool to kind of stay on that point, so memory serves, so I staffed the Citizen Advisory Committee back in Hillsborough County, because they wanted to look at Ruskin and look at incorporating. And we actually had former State Senator Tom Lee that came in to provide, just his observation of his movement to try to incorporate Brandon back in the 80s before he was even elected to the state legislature. It's the upfront cost that a lot of time is just the heavy lift that is too low for a lot of these communities that are wanting to go up a notch, wanting to incorporate, because there's so much. There are mechanisms you don't have just yet. Assessments are great, but you're limited on how you can use it. Especially bonding. You get in a fire, you're talking about all that equipment, all that hardware that is just hard startup costs that you can't necessarily get around. And so it's an important piece to discuss. And let me go back to, that's actually why I think Florida League of Cities would be a valuable resource as well, because they can also provide those use cases to say, here are some areas in the state they looked into it. Here's why it just, at the end of the day, even though my goodness they wanted it, this is why it just didn't work.
Gotcha.
And so, obviously, my job as a lobbyist is to, ultimately advocate and get what my client wants, but it's also to say, hey, all right, I think it's wise now if, and here's why. If here is, okay, I know we want 10 out of 10, but are we good with 7 out of 10 of those provisions? Would that be good for the community? Would they consider that a victory? There's option 2, right there.
I think that was just a quick answer. I think the answer to that would be how much is still going out that we wouldn't have any control of. You know what I mean? That would kind of be the answer to, are we good with 7 or 6 or 8? You know what I mean? Because of the ad valorem going out, that would still go out.
Yeah, and I was really meaning like, you want 10 out of 10 provisions from your bill. Are we good? And we do this all the time with policy making. It's like you start with your pure product that you love.
Yeah.
Well, it goes through the process. You've got to negotiate.
Right.
So are we going to make? Are we good with? All right, we got 7 out of 10. Is that good or is that failure? Or we got 5 out of 10. Or is it, hey, look, we got 5 out of 10. You know what? 50%. Let's consider that a victory. Let's take our breath. Let's come back the following year and to see if we can, add to it. And the third one, and again, I know everyone here has strong relationships with your county your district county commissioners as well as the rest of the county commissioners is to say, hey, obviously there's frustration in terms of services and deliverables, and having our services kind of add horsepower, a little juice to those discussions on your behalf. And you all have day-to-day lives as well. Is to say, hey, have our team meet with them and say, hey, where could we see some of these areas, stepped up by the county, or look at alternatives. That's a hard timeline, but I put a kind of a 3 to 12 month mark there, just in terms of how quick those discussions can go, or how long those discussions can go. I was using the analogy, Tallahassee, their calendar, it's a sprint. So our lawmakers that get elected, we typically have about 6 committee weeks. So they're not necessarily always consecutive. And then you have the actual state legislative session. And that's a 60-day sprint. And one required thing, statutorily required thing you have to do is pass a balanced budget, which they struggled to do over the past 2 years. And so county government and even DC is more of that slow marathon. You're going off of a true fiscal year. In Tallahassee, you go through the legislative process, you can't find agreement with your Senate counterpart or your House counterpart, or it dies, on the full floor. Okay, well, we have to start all over again, file the bill all over again the following year.
So the only problem with this that I see, Jim, and I could be wrong, is because the way our charter's set up, we can't really partner up with our county because of our bylaws. So like for instance, right now, the new thing that they started when we built our first house, there was impact fees, right? So they restarted that again, last year. So the impact fees and all the new things that are happening, right? So they're about $6,000 to $8,000 in impact fees somewhere in that facility. None of that funds stay here. None of it can be used here because the county doesn't own anything. They have to be used for certain things. So there's a lot of things that we are not able to do. The only thing that we can do is raise assessment fees.
Yeah. And so I used much of that as just examples.
Sure.
And it would, any contract before executed, it would be negotiated of those metrics. What are we negotiating? What are those actual areas? So obviously for that may not be a talking point or a issue we would necessarily talk about with the commissioners. And so we would work with you like, okay, where are those, what are those 1, 2, 3, however many little services or significant issues that just aren't handing out. And so we treat it, again, as a local client needing to engage their local elected body and saying, hey, we've got data, we've got figures, because as much as energy and excitement and modulation in your voice helps, doesn't win the argument at the end of the day when you're talking real numbers, real dollars.
Yeah, because
what we can do, what we can't do.
Most of us are engaged with our local officials that oversee our area. So we have 2 that oversee Montura. The way it's split, the lines are divided a little bit differently, but we speak to them. And in my opinion, I'd love to partner with the county, but the county's so big, they have a lot to deal with, and there's limited funding, right? So again, we don't, like for instance, they're trying to do stuff to put more for fire rescue, medical services, because we've grown so much. You hear our name in every meeting pretty much, Montura this, Montura that. So they see that we're moving it, but the thing is, there's a limited amount of the pie, so to speak, right? So as a constituent myself of this county and all the other ones that that live here. The frustration is, okay, I pay this to the county, I pay this to you guys, and we get this in return. And it's not adequate,
Sure.
you know.
And I think, actually, I really appreciate that actual tangible example, because sometimes you start the legislative process, whether you're trying to do a local ordinance, state policy, or even in DC, and you start with a bill that does A. You've done all your research, this is what we want. And for various reasons, that's not going to happen. Or it's being able to pivot, to say, okay, you know what? Incorporation, that's a lot of time, it's a lot of money. And just, you know, it's hard to justify that in the current state. But maybe there's other avenues to consider. Maybe it's, instead of going to Tallahassee, lobbying this particular piece of policy, policy is made because at the end of the day, it's, in many respects, the squeaky wheel gets the grease.
Yes, sir.
You know, so you have Amendment 3 coming. Now, we'll see how that breaks in November. But
Yes.
what did we hear throughout the entire debate about homestead exemption? It was, for our rural communities, we've got you. You know, and again, we've got to make sure that, in fact, if these projected losses, if Amendment 3 passes, real quick, and this is for the Florida Tax Watch, go on Florida Tax Watch website. It's a great resource. Should the impact, should Amendment 3 pass. But for all Florida county county commissions, it's going to be over 5 years, just shy of $30 billion. Hendry County, your projected 5-year loss is $65.5 million. For all Florida cities, 5-year loss will be $12 billion. City of Lewiston, 5-year loss is going to be $5.1 million. For all Florida independent special districts, the 5-year loss is $4 billion. Hendry, you guys, or Hendry County, y'all are 19.34 loss, and that came from Florida Tax Watch, and if Amendment 3 passes.
So, Mr. Taylor, here's what I'm being told
Yes.
through people that are a lot smarter than I am. They're saying if this homestead actually passes, we as a water control district actually sit in a better position than we would the county if this happens.
Okay, what was their rationale for that?
Because the rationale is you're not going to pay the taxes to the county, but in reference to special districts, it doesn't really dwell into that. You still are able to produce that assessment.
If I may, I think what he's referring to is we do not have
Ad
ad
valorem.
Ad valorem.
authority.
Yeah, that's right.
We use a flat maintenance tax. So that if the constitutional amendment passes, we're not going to be impacted.
Correct.
The county is.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, yay for y'all.
Maybe.
But the flip side is option 3, and just in general, if no option is considered and we just continue on the status quo,
Sure.
your county commission has even less resources
Well-
at their disposal.
Yes.
And so,
So that's what we're saying. So let's say, for instance, let's be honest, if this does happen,
mhm,
it's great for the homeowners, supposedly, but then you have a fire, then you have our services that our sheriff provides. All that money's coming from the county, that's a big old loss. So I see a loss in services.
well, and that's, I come back to, and again, these are words, this isn't policy yet.
Sure.
We'll see what happens with, in 2027. But there have been a lot of folks saying, we're gonna help out the rural community. And there's been a lot of focus on, we had, the Rural Renaissance Bill that they tried to get passed. So I bring those examples backup to the point you were making earlier is to say, the need that you guys have outlined, that hasn't changed. But maybe we look at the avenue to get there,
Okay.
maybe that does change. Maybe it isn't the first two. Maybe we keep it the exact same way, you know, because we just saw a massive effort led by our outgoing Senate President, President Albritton, on all this new funding for the rural communities. And again, I use my mama's adage all the time: you don't know what you don't know.
Sure.
And again, we are an extension of our clients, and you know, you guys have a story. You guys have a very unique story because your county is different from my county of Hillsborough.
Yes, sir.
Is different than Duval, you know, Santa
Palmer.
Rosa. So point being, in fact, even at the very beginning, the discussion you guys were having, I was enthralled by that because I'm not used to those type of presentations yet, even though we've got a lot of rural parts of Hillsborough County, but this is very unique and really cool for you guys. And I will say, I've got 4 boys that are all 2.5 years within the age of one another, so I've got 3 good child labor that would love to come and ride those big old bulldozer machines.
Right.
Maybe next summer, my wife will let me bring the boys down and do that.
Absolutely.
But, so that's why some of it may be, I know today, in the discussions I've had with Stephen, is knowing what the frustration is.
Absolutely.
And knowing what the community has said, what they would love to see. And I'm not diminishing that effort,
Sure.
but I think one of the questions that I was asking me earlier is to say, well, what happened if, there's just not the juice? Do we do it? Do we not do it? I mean, I'm looking at your budget from last year. I'm very cognizant, I'm very respectful
Absolutely.
of you know, y'all are stewards here of all this money. And I want a victory. I want you guys to get what you want. But maybe after a little bit more time and see where legislative priorities may start to go,
Gotcha.
and having those discussions with your new state representative and your new state senator to say, hey, no, we might be small, but this is a real issue impacting your citizens.
Sure.
And we hear there may be an opportunity to relook at, you know, that rural renaissance bill, that new iteration, and adding your story, your data points as well. And that's the big thing, is adding, you know, yes, you guys are passionate, and you guys want what you want, but that doesn't do me anything if you don't have the corresponding correlating data that backs all that up, whatever that may be.
Okay.
Yeah, and last thing actually I'll say on Amendment 3, the more, when voters are asked what they think of Amendment 3, there's been over the 60% to get
Oh, for sure.
passed.
For sure.
But that number actually, I think it was a week and a half ago, James Madison Institute dropped a poll to where then once you tell the citizens, okay, here's what restraints and decisions your local elected officials are going to be faced with, you know. And so either they cut services or they're going to infill it with user fees, assessments. And so, I mean, I stand here agnostic as to what Amendment 3 does, but having worked for local government, understanding kind of how their budgets are done,
Sure.
how they are limited based on statute, on how they can do things, how they can't do stuff, but also a fan of wanting my government to be, you know, limited and tailored and efficient as well. So we are seeing that those numbers tighten, but I'm not going to stand here and say it's going to pass, it's going to fail, but just so That was a mouthful. Thank you all. I'm still here, happy to continue answering any questions you may have. And I want you to know, at least for me in my time, I'm happy to continue these discussions just beyond tonight as well. I know how important this is for you all.
Sure.
So,
Well, I think, we thank you for coming out, and it's been a process for us to even get to here, so we diligently and patiently and persistently have been pushing for this, just to see the options that are available to us. And we know with everything, there's a cost. There is never such a good time to do anything, right? But, I mean, we have to think about this, because as we continue to raise these taxes here, and as Henry County continues to raise our assessment, I mean, as I spoke last meeting, which you might not know, but the average annual income is $56,000 to $56,000 in Henry County. That's not a lot, right? And if you drive around our beautiful neighborhood, you see some nice homes. They're not making $50,000, $60,000 a year. So we do have a lot of hardworking people here. So we have to be, cognizant of that and be, figure out a way how we can make this happen.
1,000%. I'm grateful for the work I get to do.
Sure.
But, I got 4 boys. I got my middle son's second eye surgery is in a month. He started orthodontics. My 9-year-old Ford that I pulled up in just had to get new injectors done. So I respect and I get the value of the dollar.
Yes.
Which again, why I say I think the contract we executed, I did on an hourly rate. Typically in my line of work, it is using our numbers here. If it's $80,000 for the year, we break it into 12 months installments.
Sure.
But I think I hit the allotment that we agreed upon. You have my phone, you have my email, and again, I would recommend, and I'm happy to come back. I would recommend line up Florida League of Cities.
Sure.
Because again, I just think as important as this is, because again, it's one of those options. Definitely option one. You get on that highway, we're on, and there's a commitment there. And so
I think being realistically, I don't think we can do an option one. I mean, that's a lot of capital you have to come out. Fire, police, water, wastewater, public works, services. I don't see how we could, that's quite a big of amount, but it's good to know. It's good to know, it's good to see.
1,000%.
Yeah, it's good to know.
Now you know what we didn't know.
You don't know what you don't know, right?
And
You said it before.
God forbid, I wouldn't want to get year 2 of this legislative process and, the outcome. But
Nothing's cheap right now, and I mean, I'm an assistant public works director, and we build, and right now, prices they're not, everything is just crazy.
Yeah.
Numbers are crazy that are coming in, but that's today's prices, right?
Hey, I work for Commissioner Hagan, who's the chair of the Hillsborough County Commission currently. I worked for him 10 years ago because he wanted to bring the Rays to Tampa. I'm a die-hard Rays fan. Yes, die-hard Rays fans exist.
Yeah.
And so I know the number that was kicked around in 2014
Right.
for a new stadium, whether it was going to be on the Pinellas side or Hillsborough side. And now we've got 2 massive votes tomorrow and on Friday with my friends at the City Council of Hillsborough County, and we're 2.3 billion.
Absolutely.
So yeah, costs of everything have gone up.
Absolutely.
So
Any questions for Mr. Taylor from the board?
Just want to confirm, option 3 sounds like a more concerted lobby, if I understand that correctly. In other words, option 2 doesn't require us to actually craft any new documents or any new governing documents. It might result in a series of interlocal type of agreements with the county that intended to extract more services.
well, it may, and that's why what we would do is we would actually set up time with staff. Jonathan Darden, who chairs, or who's the committee staffer who would be, basically controls this process.
Sure.
He is, of course, subject matter expert, which is why he's the staff director in Tallahassee for the local bill. So just to make sure that if we are adding particular services, that we make sure that the way that we currently assess, you know, we can get it done. Because there may be some things where, you know, we actually can't do that because statute doesn't allow us to do
Understood. Yeah.
X, Y, and Z. So that option two would be we would be massaging that document to make sure, A, it ultimately fits your objective,
Gotcha.
but we would be working with staff to make sure that we're in compliance. That way we don't get sued on those lines.
Right.
For being out of posture.
Okay.
So,
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Safe travels home.
thanks kindly.
All right. Let's move on to SDS, Election Administration Services. For
It's in
this,
their binder, it's in your binder towards the back.
for this coming election, right, that we have?
Yes.
Should you, Stephen, or is this, okay, yeah.
John, so, for the board, John and I, actually, so at the last meeting, the discussion, the main headline was that the accounting firm who we had normally used for the election wasn't available.
Right.
So it was about coming up with alternatives. I suggested to the board, at least let me look into this. And so John and I reached out to Special District Services. For the purposes of the board, when you're looking at this presentation, page 7 is really what you need to know. That's about how much it is and what we get. And so the rest of this is sort of an introduction. Why John and I know and like SDS is that they do for many, they have a list here, pages
Okay.
33, whatever, all of the special districts that they do comprehensive work for.
Okay.
So I guess what I'm saying is this would be an easy lift for them, and I would think John would agree that at least what we would get is an idea of what it is that they are capable of. So if they came in, did this, and ran it like a well-oiled machine, we might discover that one of these days when we are trying to do CDD plus, it might be good to know that we can partner with them.
Gotcha.
I would say, because one of the endorsements in here is from the St. Lucie West Services District. That's one of our clients. And so St. Lucie West Services District District Manager says these guys are good. I would tend to agree with that. And so I would just ask the board to consider, and then Becky, I would ask Becky to weigh in on how we've done it historically, right? I've been here for a couple of them. They run fine. It's just that I couldn't find anybody locally.
Yeah,
And that gave us the idea to use SDS.
At this turn, yeah, at this point in time, yeah, we, yes.
So, in terms of questions, John knows SDS better than I do because they've been around for a number of years. In my limited interaction with them, with St. Lucie West Services District, and in interacting with them as I interact with other clients who they represent, I've been impressed by them. And, it's an accounting function, but really it's more just of an organizational function. The board has asked that we, it's legal, do more of it. So I'm asking for the board's permission basically to outsource this little piece of it, right? So.
Yeah, I actually looked at this a while back, and I think Becky shared with me some things, and I don't have any issue with it. I think that the proposal number is feasible, and I believe they're independent, so there's no bias, there's no bias or loyalty thing there. So I think it's a wise thing to do. Anybody from the board have any questions on it?
Nope.
You need our blessing?
Yes, please. So I would ask for a motion and a vote to approve retaining SDS, Special District Services, to conduct the election.
Gotcha. So, seeing if we can get a motion on the floor for Special District Services to conduct our election this year, coming in October, I believe it's 17th, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yeah.
October 17th.
A motion.
We have a motion on the floor, do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Thank you.
Thank you. John, I thank you.
See, Becky, can you bring me up to spoke with this?
That's Stephen.
Resolution confirming fund balance reserve, sorry.
Bunch of things. So, Mr. Chair, this was, I'm gonna say it was the June meeting, and that was the meeting at which we had the audit results.
Oh, yes.
And so, you know, I should have done this last month. I didn't have it for you last month. So
Okay.
this resolution is a ministerial administrative act that accompanies the audit result. It just says that we have this fund balance reserve, I don't have it, but the number was provided to me by the auditor, and so we need the resolution in the books is all. We need an auditor or a state agency reviewing the audit to be able to say that, hey, here's your resolution declaring the fund balance reserve. So it is a required general accounting principles item, and so I just asked the board to check the spelling, but the number, the most important thing is the number, and that was provided to us by the auditor. So.
Do we have that number back here?
Yes, it's 1.674 on 125.
What's that? On what? What did you say? I got that.
1,674,125.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. So, board, can we get a motion to confirming the fund balance reserve of 1.674,125?
Motion.
We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Moving on to,
Still needs it. So
go ahead.
this one, this is item D. This is now we're talking about bank statements. So we've been talking for a while about the bank access. So Becky was good enough to give me the full list. I didn't realize. So we're adding Mr.
I
Cortez.
will place an order for delivery.
John, you yourself. But
You
we've
can
got
use.
Mr. Cortez on here, and then we also have a note. We're moving John Boy and a handful of other people who, you know, I mean, I know Chris Self, but a couple of the other ones predate me.
Sure.
And finally, putting in Dina instead of John Boy.
Understood.
So that should be, you should have the resolution, maybe have a copy in your binder there, but there, while you're maybe checking, so afterwards we'll grab it.
I have it here.
But per your directives before, this is the resolution swapping out the bank account access people.
Right, so, okay, so can we get a motion on the floor to update, our board members that are on at this time, and also removing Mr. John Boy as a treasurer and adding Dina for the treasurer's access to our accounts?
Motion.
We have a motion on the floor, do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Motion carries 3-0 on that.
Thank you. That's all I got.
Dina's issue on the final budget for fiscal year 2027. If you're speaking, you're on mute.
What was that?
Question was, on E, discuss and vote on the final budget for 2027. I like that, that deer in the headlight look, I love it.
That's for paving.
No, ma'am.
No.
Can you hear me?
I hear you loud and clear. Did you understand the question I asked you? I'm
I don't
sorry.
think we need to vote on the budget yet.
Okay.
What?
No, I'm listening. Go ahead. Maybe I need to learn
Okay,
something.
I don't know if we need to vote on the budget
Okay.
today or next. I wanted to discuss the payroll numbers that I changed, and do you have a decision on, for capital purchases, do you want to purchase or finance?
Yes, sir. I would, well, again, we have a board here. And I think that was my question for G. How can we cater this, Stephen, for this?
Sure. Purchase versus, it's possible to move items within a budget category, and in particular,
All frozen and I can't hear.
Sorry about that.
Good morning, Dina. this would be fine. In other words, if you decide that within a single budget category, you've got a number that is less, then hallelujah. If it's more, that would be problematic to the extent that it changes what the assessment has to be. I think that's the only thing you have to be concerned about. So if you were gonna go to rental versus purchase, and rental had the net effect of decreasing, then we're good to go. Or if it was a lateral change.
I don't think it's the rental part, I think it was lease to own or pay to own like a regular vehicle compared to buying out outright and throwing out the capital out.
Purchase and finance.
So we
Correct, purchase of fund, yes, so you're right, Mr. Ray, yes.
We have had an opinion on that before, and then the legal opinion was that it's entirely common and doable for the district to
Absolutely.
choose to lease, to enter into long-term equipment lease or maintenance. agreements.
So let me ask you the question again, be careful how you answer. You only get one chance on this one. Is it today's your lucky day? Is the dump truck financeable?
No.
You're not getting a dump truck. So in reference to the dump truck,
I have to wait
board,
till next.
in order for us to get that, they want us to pay it outright.
And with all three different companies that we've sought out to, the thing is that, leasing it, it's not like a rental lease.
Sure.
And they're brand new trucks. So
What was
they're
that, what was that, sorry, ma'am, what was that number once again?
For the dump truck,
Yes, ma'am.
220.
220,
there was,
230?
230.
230.
None of our banks offer equipment financing?
Hey, you know, that's a great idea. So what he's saying is if you go to our banks and see if we can get a loan for that 230.
Yeah,
So
because
we
they'll
can-
pay them off and then we'll just pay
It's,
them.
it's simple interest.
A lot of times
Sure.
they're easier to work with because they already know your revenue coming in, so it's kinda, they have your history.
You know what, I didn't even look at that. To be honest, I just pulled the quotes and I was looking at the financing, like through the companies. So we get a government special too, so.
I would like, once we kinda go over, I know we have another item for equipment, but I would probably look at whatever we come up with
Yeah,
on the list
with
and
the
try
bank.
to see what, at least the one that, like I think John Deere, for example, does offer, compare apples to apples, you know what I mean?
So in reference to what we're discussing, community is, as our equipment ages, we're putting a lot of money into it, right, like anything else. We have a great mechanic here who we do a lot of stuff in-house. But some of this stuff is, it's time. Some of this stuff is time. So what we're trying to do is, do we throw out the capital and barely have any reserve for an emergency? Or do we, with our good credit, do we go get some simple interest loans to pay it off, right? Because we have two big grant projects that Jeff will probably be talking on real soon, and we're gonna have to have money in the bank, right, to make these projects continue to grow. So those are the options that we're looking for. So we have trucks that we need, dump trucks, skid steers, there's quite a few pieces of equipment, and we're trying to work diligently to figure out how we can make this happen. So if you could, I think that's a great idea on what Mr. Cortez brought up. So Dean is saying we don't have to do anything with E, Stephen, on that one, so we're good, right?
That's great.
Okay, so we're good there, Dean, we don't have to do anything on E, vote on final budget for 2027, correct? We don't have to vote on anything for 2027, correct? Okay,
Not the final.
No, I just needed to know which direction you were leaning in, financing or purchasing.
we're gonna get to that in 1 minute on G, we'll get to that right in 1 second here.
So what's our official deadline for the budget?
We have to, before, September 30th. We have to,
So we need to vote on next
Yeah.
meeting.
We'll have to finalize it next week.
Yeah.
That's why.
that's why she's asking if we're gonna
You would
purchase or
adopt
finance.
The final budget at the August meeting.
We have it in here because we normally think, we will
Yes.
figure it out by now.
Because
We still could.
We still can amend it though.
Budget.
The budget can be amended. It was just,
Yeah, so, John, what was your comment?
Go ahead, John.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know if Dina has the same problem, but there's a little thing here that says Rebecca Hernandez's network bandwidth is low. So we're hearing like every other word. But as far as the final budget place by before September 30th. So typically, that's what we've done. You have already adopted a tentative budget,
Yes.
which is required by law. And then, and remember, during the course of a year, you can make budget amendments.
Correct.
So nothing you do today is set in stone. You can move money from one fund to another fund
Yes, sir.
during the course of the year as the board's needs and priorities change over time.
Yes, sir. We understand. So is there a vote that we need to do this evening then, like what we've done in times past then? Would it be wise to do it right now, second?
Well, magic word is wise. And I would say, Mr. Chair, if what you need to do is do G now and talk about, and then do E, that's fine. In other words, if you're more comfortable having the full discussion about finance versus purchase,
Okay.
right? Because after all, that has you moving money, I would say, within the same budget category.
So
And
let's,
then Dina could
let,
firm it up.
so we're gonna skip to G first. Dina, we're gonna speak internally, and then we'll figure out how we need to go. What items were we talking about, Becky, for this fiscal year?
It was the skid steer and the dump truck.
That was it? No trucks?
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
thank you, thank you.
Next fiscal
It's because we've had conversations,
We've had so many conversations.
we've had so many conversations.
But we're talking about for next fiscal year, right?
Yes, 2027, yes.
Yes, yes, not for 2026,
Okay.
for 2027. And at least, new pickup truck,
So three?
three pieces of equipment.
Cybertruck?
You know which truck it is? Is it gonna be used for field work, mechanic, going into town?
It would be for field work. It's not gonna be a mechanic truck, we already got a mechanic truck and we got the flatbed. So it would be just like a regular pickup, like a 4x4. The Chevy that we have right now should be put to auction.
So, Mr. Moreno, while you were out, we skipped from E to G. We're discussing equipment for fiscal year 2027. Purchasing a skid steer that we don't have right now at all, we're renting one. Purchasing a dump truck and possibly a field truck for our staff here. So with that being said, this is open for the team, is do we want to put these on payment plans, or do we want to pay this out directly? What is the option best for the board to go with? What do we see as a team, best way to go? I'm okay either way.
My opinion would be 3-year on all three,
So,
or 4-year, whatever, but I think 3 years probably not too far, not too short. You mean finance?
yeah, financing.
Finance versus 3 years.
Becky, is that doable? Dina, is that doable? Financing the 3 pieces of equipment, skid steer, dump truck, and a work vehicle for 2027?
And I wanted to point something out on her financing.
Thank you.
On the financing here that she has, under the equipment, she's got 400,000. That's way above
I see 450.
450, I'm sorry.
I see 450.
Yeah, that's way above what we're gonna need for a skid steer.
Yeah, I think her number is the current year. Current year is, so when it says prior
Oh,
year,
right.
it's looking at our current year, and then current year is looking at next year.
Yeah, because we're renting right now, that's why.
Yeah. So our 27 fiscal year is actually the middle column. So the 450 that you're talking about
Yes,
is,
sir.
Yes.
Okay. So with that being said, we're looking for fiscal year 2027 to put on payments a skid steer, a dump truck, and a field truck. We agree to that?
Is it two equipment or three equipment?
It's three altogether, if you consider the field truck.
Dump truck, skid steer, and and basically, I think this is the same one that we were looking at last time. So you got one, you can see at the top.
Yeah.
Purchased and financed, if we do finance, we add an extra 270 back, or 273 back to the reserve.
Correct.
If we do purchase, then we're knocking down, we're losing 83.
Correct.
I would suggest to finance as the purchase, that way around.
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement with that, so are we all on board for her to go forward? So again, so she has the green light, and she can set things in order for the next fiscal year, which is October 1st, like everybody else. Everybody good with that on this board?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
And I'll get with the bank about that for the dump truck.
So Dina, as reference to this board for 2027, we want to finance the dump truck, skid steer, and the field truck.
Recording in progress.
The connection, guys.
The connection's probably off, Dina, but just get with Becky and she'll bring you up to speed on what we're talking about. We want to finance the dump truck, skid steer, and the field truck for 2027. And please start that process October 1st while we're, you know what I'm saying?
I'll get everything now situated in September.
However you
So
like
it'll
to do
be
it.
ready to go in
You ready to
October.
go? Yes, ma'am.
And I mean, looking at the numbers, it may be a little bit longer term, but, I mean, a dump truck's gonna last. A skid steer's gonna last, you know what I mean, so. But yeah, I agree, I think even if you kind of get the ball rolling now, you can kind of be ready, so once we start, it's ready to go.
So Stefan, with that being said, now I believe we can go ahead and, you know,
Right now, I think it makes sense.
That makes sense, right?
Get it in the books
Right.
now.
so with that being said, we know what we're purchasing board for 2027. Can we, at this present moment, vote on the budget approve the budget for 2027? Do we have a motion on the floor?
Motion?
We have a motion on the floor, do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Motion carries for the approved budget for 2027. Thank you for it. Let's move into F.
I sent the email to, the board.
Yes, ma'am.
It was something that, during the paving process,
Yes, ma'am.
leveling had to be done to the road.
Sure.
It was horrible. I'll let Mr. Jeff speak on that, because this is, in regards to the change order that you wrote up.
Okay, so what had happened is, with RFP, part of the process was to mill an inch. We didn't know the condition of the road until we actually started the milling process. So when we started milling the 1 inch, went forward about 5-10 feet and realized, oh man, we're getting into the base. So we realized that road was much thinner than we anticipated.
Yes,
So to do this right, we milled, we profiled a 1/2 inch all the way through. We needed to put a leveling course. So that's what that $80,000 is for, that 1/2 inch leveling course that we have to do for the complete mile of the project. It was necessary, it was unforeseen, so that's why it came up as a change order, so I'm bringing it to the board, see if we can get our blessing.
So, well, I just signed a check, so I don't think we're signing the blessing.
The blessing's already gone out, we've already filled out. So here, so here's my only problem with this, because I deal in public works and we deal with this. And this is my 2 cents. At the price of this, I don't believe that the district manager should give the authorization for this type of an amount. This is a substantial amount. I personally believe that we need to put things in place that we have to get the board involved, the people involved to make get this approval decision. I know it was unforeseen, I know things happen, but this is a good amount that we have to go find. We just don't have 80,000 laying around, if you understand what I'm saying. So the other thing I need to ask is, was our contract tight like it needed to be? Or do we need to make improvements for that? Because the reason I ask this, and I ask this sincerely with no reservations, or I'm always lessons learned, learning from my lessons, right? Because when I seen it, I looked at it, I read it a few times, I said, in the contingency, that amount wasn't there. This is truly an unforeseen condition, but it comes with a price. And again, the work is done, he's gonna want to get paid like anybody else. But my thing is, as a board, Steve and Stefan, as well as everybody else on this board, how do we want to approach this? What is our best approach? Because if I'm not mistaken, I think the district manager is allowed to approve up to 10 or 15,000, I forget off the top of my head. This is a good amount of money. How does the board want to address this? Or do we say the engineer gave approval? You know what I'm saying? Who gives the approval for this type of change order? What is the best course of action for this? Because I'm glad it kind of happened, because the next road that we plan on doing, there's quite a bit of money that's going to be involved because that sub is gone.
So you're asking like for the future, like what do we want to do?
Sure.
I mean, right now we can't do much on this.
Sure.
So, Mr. Chair, there's obviously Jeff knows this better than I do, a way to, and this is a tricky thing. Well, knowing what we know now, maybe not as tricky, right? Now we get a sense of what is really underneath there. Something like a guaranteed maximum price, a
Like
contract.
a GMP?
Yeah, because it's really a business term. I mean, I can think of, if you were to say, just as a legal matter, sorry, it's like saying no change orders. I assume that you just wouldn't get any bids. You know, you get a lot of questions. Hey,
I think,
you're missing a section here. What's up with the change order?
There may be, but it'd just be a higher price.
well, that's what I was going to say, yeah.
Okay.
I've
So
done-
more transparency is what you're saying.
No, it's not transparency. I don't think it's transparency.
What
I think
about-
we're very transparency. I just think when it comes to this amount, this amount is how much percent of the contract? It's quite a bit of percent of the contract, right? Most projects that I do, and I do big money projects, there's a contingency, right? There's a
Right.
contingency. This is beyond a contingency number, right? Even though it's unexpected, right? It was unforeseen conditions, and that happens. It happens with us. But my thing is that contractor needs to keep moving, and we have to make a decision. I'm just asking the board, are we okay with her making that her, when I say her, the district manager, whoever it might be, make that decision? Or is that something that the board wants to say, hey, we should approve of this? Because again, as our numbers are very tight, where is this money coming from? That's why I'm asking the
May I make
question.
a suggestion?
Sure.
Along in the bid items, my suggestion would be that the district manager has a certain amount that she's allowed to approve. You can put that in the bid item as an allowance or whatever it is. So if we have a problem like that,
Sure.
and allow the contractor to proceed with her permission,
Right.
and give us enough time to come back to the board and say, hey, this is what the problem is. We need to make a decision, and this is how much it is. And we can make that decision while they have a day or two to work or do whatever it may be. This is a
Let me ask you a question. What's the name of the contractor doing that? Diaz, correct?
Yes, yes, that's all.
How long and how many contracts you have done in Montura?
He's done a lot of the patchwork here way before I've been here. And he's done 2 of our roads, which was Hunting Club and Horse Club. And he's done a lot of the big, asphalt patch roads.
So he does got a pretty good idea on what's going on with these roads.
Well, you don't, on some roads, you're okay, but on others, you don't know. Until you lift up the first layer of what you're milling out.
Yeah, but once you're in that business, I mean, they should have some kind of brought that, to our attention. I mean, before, or put a clause on the contract, at least we can, give a heads up for a future change orders.
Well, he did talk about the leveling, but we didn't know it was gonna be that bad.
Yeah.
But, and that's why I asked,
That much,
in the
to be
con,
honest.
in, that's why I asked, was the contract,
And you get a clause.
so again, when you put our, RFP, right? They're going to bid on that RFP. If you don't have that on there, they're not gonna bid on it, right? they're gonna say, okay, this is what I foresee, this is what's gonna cost, and I'm gonna put, you know, a little here and there for little things that you guys might ask, you know, they'll put a little contingency. But my question, and we deal with projects like this all the time, hey, by the way, we didn't know, you know, what was under there. We thought that it was this type of sub base and it's not there. Because I drove down it when they milled it, and I was like, oof, they were there pretty fast.
So I'm not a road guy, I'm not, you know, I don't know much about that, but what would it take to physically show the people that wanna bid what's under there?
You've gotta scrape it.
Like,
Yeah,
how much,
investigative.
how much is needed is where I'm asking, and how can that be worded into the RFP?
So here's the only thing, Mr. Cortez, and the board. You might be fine on this corridor, you might be bad at the middle, for instance, that's just like doing one bore testing,
Yeah.
right? Well, you got 20 acres, you only did one bore testing. Well, the other parts have cap rock, less than 2 feet, so you don't know, you really don't know.
Is there anything that can be worded in there though, that kind of talks about
You can.
the unexpected?
Contractor can field verify certain things, but, you know, to a certain point, it's gonna be money.
Well, that's what I'm saying, yeah.
Yes.
It's like
The more you put in there, the more they're gonna charge.
when you do a roof, you know, roofers, you know, put it, I mean, X amount of dollar for a square when the wood is effective, already spelled out in the contract, so.
Well, and they usually give you like a breakdown on, well, if I gotta replace wood, it's gonna cost me this.
Exactly.
If I gotta
That'll
do
be
this,
something
it'll
we
cost
do
that.
after the
And
RFP.
that's why I'm asking in the RFP, is it something maybe we need to look at to make it a
This next
little
one we're
more?
about to do, that road is, Cabbage Farm from
Hunting Club to Perimeter
Is
and
that
Cabbage.
whole thing, you might as well say we need to redo the road. So there's no-
Listen to what I'm
No
saying.
unexpected there. And if we want to be sure of what's there, we may just do an exploratory search, cut a section open and take a look at it.
You could pick any of the boxes.
You can pick, you can do
Yeah,
the exploratory right there.
I mean, I don't see the harm of it now if we know the road's that bad, you know what I mean? Like, how worse can it get more if we do a few holes here, a few holes there, I mean.
So my only question to the board is this, and to the whole team is, are we okay with the district manager making that decision, or is that something that the board should say? Because again, we have to give an account, like everybody else, of this budget.
My opinion on that is, yes, give the okay, but still we need to go back into the budget, because don't forget, the numbers are very, tight.
Oh, you're not, I'm saying.
So, yes,
They are very tight.
my proposal, yes, give the okay to the district manager, but they have to come back with a number in order for it to confirm with what we got, because if it,
So say that again, sorry. So give her the authority, but she's gotta come back to get
the
approval?
number needs to come back, yes, to be approved based on what we got in the budget. Or the district manager need to know how much in the budget, in that line item. I'll send an email, so this is what.
Well, if you look at the line item, that was the amount of the line item, and then some.
So,
That's why I'm just, again, this can happen in the future. We just wanna learn from
Be
what.
proactive, that's what, that we need to be.
Be proactive and check those boxes, cause a lot of people are gonna say.
Okay.
Seems like you should have some latitude to get Becky to do, I'm gonna call it a straw poll. It's generally disfavored when you're making major legislative decisions, right? But in the case of trying to get an emergency approval, then I'm trying to think, how would it have worked out? Becky said, hey, we're up against a $80,000 change order.
Absolutely.
Mr. Cortez, how do you feel? In other words, thumbs up, thumbs down, would that do it? It is possible to do that. It's possible to do that because we would treat that as emergency. We would treat the need to address a work project that is currently ongoing as an emergency. It can be done as a call around, generally not recommended for any other major decisions, but for this type of thing, it could be. And that's how you do it. I mean, you gotta pick up the phone, you have to be ready to weigh in, because immediately the question was, well, is this truly an unknown condition, right? Why not say, hey, you should have known better, right? And in which case, we would just suffer going forward. I assume if we would hold somebody to a certain thing, but then going forward, we would just get hammered on the costs, on the bids coming in.
Right.
It'll all wash out in the long term, even if we win this battle. But if the board just needed an idea, one of the simplest ways to do it is to get the district manager to ask the board individually, essentially swear that this is what you said, and then after the fact, we can then do like we did up and down, like we did with the assessments, and like we did with one other, I thought that minor item where, I forgot what it was. It was something where I needed to hear from you within a short time frame. And so we called and spoke to each of you in order to get an approval. And then after the fact, had a meeting and had a discussion, hey, we did this, yes or no, please say yes, right? In other words, for you to ratify, recall, your prior decision that was made hastily, but you meant to make that decision. That's one way to do it. The other way to do it, which, I generally favor, is increasing the staff person's authority. And there, you get into the classic thing, that if you increase the authority too much, then there's a possibility that something gets done, too hastily, and it's a bunch of money that goes out the door. It seems unlikely here. If we were talking about a municipality, where you have a staff of 30 people, and you start saying, hey, do this, do that. Staff like this, a good measure would be if you wanted to do a resolution, really, really solidifying or nailing down what the district manager's purchasing authority is or procurement authority. You might do yourself a favor by missing a bunch of these discussions. You probably end up missing 3 or 4 in any given year about, hey, we need a decision made on the spot. So you would simply, codify, memorialize, document what the authority is. And if something goes wrong, then, that's, the district manager has to be called on the carpet for it. But those are the best 2 ideas I have, is just, as a board, increase the sort of decision-making authority, or say, no, you gotta call on this. You gotta do it, you gotta call, you gotta get, and then, I'm telling you, it's lawful to do it that way. We don't want to abuse it.
So when you say that, so say for the 80,000, so that first one that you said, she has no right to say, okay, you have to call the board first.
Correct.
Technically, what can happen is the contractor can say, okay, then I'm gonna stop work while I wait for this to happen. So that's gonna change his time to complete. That's a change order, a time change order, which you can put through. If he's a savvy contractor, then he's gonna charge you for that, because he's gonna demobilize now, go to another job. At the end of the day, we come back with an answer, no, it was too late last time, my guy's another job, and we're working on it, we'll be back next week.
But-
Now, we just lost all of those days.
But Jeff, you gotta look at it a different way as well. There's a lot of ways to skin this. And remember, you guys are liable as well, right? Errors, omissions, there's a lot of things, right?
Yes, that's correct.
So there's a lot of things, that's why, again, I do public works, we do roads as well with all the big boys. And they sometimes do kind of play cat and mouse. My thing is, there has to be funding set aside for this. We didn't have we did have a contingency, but not that amount. So remember, that's why I asked you guys, we pay you guys for a service. Is this thing foolproof? If it's not foolproof, we need to make it foolproof. How do we make it foolproof? Sometimes, even with us, we have it so tight that, hey, you know what, GMP is the way to go. We've done contracts like that. We've done the design build. We've done many of things. What works? What can we do to get through this? My thing is, what are different options besides this layer? Is there something else that we could have done? So again, but at that amount, we need, in my 2 cents, in my opinion, because it was quite a bit of amount, it's quite a bit of percentage, right? I don't know what the percentage is, but,
Was it like 30% of what he had?
I think the bid came out 2 something,
It was 235.
and it was 80 something, that's less than,
29.
most contingencies that I see usually 10%.
10%, yeah.
So that's way more than 10%. So again, when I see stuff like that, it's like we did some. If that happened with me, I'd be in the big room. What happened here? Bring all your subject matter experts that you have on board. Where did we go wrong here? And then we would say, like we always say, unforeseen conditions, this, that, and the other. So just want to make sure that we learn from this, and what can we do to do better. So I'm cool with what the board thinks we should do with this. What do you foresee us doing to address this in the near future if this ever happens again? Because again, this money has to be accounted for, right?
I mean, I agree that RFP needs to be tight. I mean, I don't know what it takes to make it tight, right? No, I mean, for the next one. We're talking about
let's
the
just
next
look.
one. We're talking about the next one, but
Or give us amount of, by square footage, if we need to, they can put in any amount of money for a square foot for, the leveling, that could be also put in.
So,
Right. It would be so, right, it'd be manipulating the scope of work in order to get a scope of work that's comprehensive enough for this type of situation. And understanding, again, what would happen is, like if we started to do an inspection ahead of time, and the inspection revealed a problem that wasn't true for the entire roadway, would we not then be paying through the nose, right? Because, okay, well, you have this everywhere, now this is how much it is. It's not really that bad, so I worry the downside, there's two. One of them is being surprised, right, by this change order, the other one is getting killed.
Change orders are
on the
kind
big
of,
amount, right?
change orders are kind of part of doing business, right? It's kind of part of doing business, and then sometimes you gotta negotiate change orders, right? We negotiate change orders, but then there's some that is unforeseen, or like I say, should we've done a better job? Hey, by the way, run GPR through there, run some type of thing that shows you, hey, in this area we have 1 inch, in this area we have 1/4 inch. Is there stuff out there that we could use to probably better tighten up our request for proposal? Because again, this one coming up, I don't think it's gonna be the same price.
This one here for me was, my first one.
Sure.
So it was like, hey, we need it now. I said, okay, where are the plans? We don't have no plans, so I gotta put a bill into the plan just like that.
Understood.
All right, with the RFP, I kind of looked at it, okay, good, and I had to add in certain things, so like it's rushed, you got certain deadlines, like,
Sure.
this isn't done in a way that I'm used to. I'm also from a municipality background.
Sure.
Change order, board approvals, the whole gamut.
You understand that,
So this
yes,
is different
Yeah.
for me, so I agree with what you're saying.
And I like the flexibility. I'm not against the flexibility. I'm just against the amount of approval, just to get it straight, right? Because again, that's where I think we could, maybe get a pick.
Well, I agree with you on that. I don't think Becky wants that responsibility of me.
No,
don't want that.
I wouldn't want that for anybody. So
One
again,
reason I made the suggestion I made was
Sure.
just that little amount, just if we needed to keep it moving, and then there may be some reasoning behind that, only if it's an emergency, like
Sure.
if we left a pit open or whatever, and we leave it for the weekend, we need to have them keep working, at least close it up, make it safe for the public. Do we have authority for that while we make a decision on the change order?
so like I say, it's lessons learned for all of us, right? Lessons learned, and that's a good thing. So what do we think we should go forward for? You want to propose something? Does it need to be voted on, Stefan, or just
We can do
agree
it for
to?
project.
I know, the only thing, at this point, Mr. Chair, it would be unnoticed, so if you like, this was a hugely useful discussion, assuming, knock on wood, that we're not gonna run up against another one of these. If we do, though, try to do the call around, but let's do it for next meeting.
Okay.
Just make the agenda item for next meeting, discuss and vote
Okay.
on the spot procurement authority for district manager. And they can dial, and then there could be another one that says, what's the other version of it? Either have it be a call around, well, no. Having it as a call around is the first one, and then Jeff points out that is gonna trigger possibly demobilization or remobilization costs. Not great,
Depending on the company, yes,
right, but not horrible.
and their schedule, yes.
And it's funny, because and then the purpose of it might have been, okay, so in this particular case, the purpose of it might have been to start a discussion about whether or not it was truly an unforeseen discovered condition, or whether it's like, hey, you should have known better, right? That may be, because I could do that now. We can get into a discussion now that would surely result in some sort of legal, demand or, whatever, but it would be like a negotiated change order. So maybe the virtue of having the call around would be that you could have a discussion about whether the change order is what it is, or whether it's something less than. And then the virtue of giving the district manager the on-the-spot procurement authority would be speed and no costs due to delays, and no delays. But you would lose the transparency of knowing that you just had another, whatever, let's call it 50K, go out the door.
Yes, sir.
These are business, what we call business decisions,
Sure.
not legal, truly policy matters.
Go ahead, Mr. Cortez.
So my other note to that is, I don't know if maybe, and I'm not questioning your experience, Jeff, but is it something that you can take back to the drawing board maybe for our next meeting, see if there's other ideas that some of your colleagues may have, or what have they done in situations like this, or maybe you kind of reflect and kind of think about your experience and, well, we did this, we did that. Let me recommend these options for the board for the RFP or for, whatever it is. But just kind of what, if you can kind of take some time and actually hey, so this is what happened, this is what I've seen in the past, or this is what a colleague's seen, or, you know what I mean? Just something that can, because I'm not an expert, he's an expert, you're an expert, but, you know, some options that we can kind of, I guess, discuss in more detail that would kind of, and maybe it's impossible to make it foolproof, but get a little bit closer to that, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah, I can do that.
Something like that.
And I think the community appreciate, I've seen you out there as well the whole time. We appreciate the, taking care of it, and hopefully what was done to the road, it's gonna make it last, where we don't have to do it like in a couple of years, so we're trying to do it right the first time, so I think it's a win for the community. I know a lot of people have already called me and says, hey, we really thankful that you guys took care of that, and there's more projects to do like that. I just wanna make sure there's no liability on anybody's part, and that we're doing business right. That's, again, so I'm kinda glad this kinda happened, because some of our next roads are not gonna be pretty roads. Alright, there's not, this next one's not gonna be a pretty road at all. So I
let me, for
foresee that.
next meeting, Mr. Chair, let me, we'll call it, actually, I can liaise with Jeff, because there may be a way, I would think, to look at the scope of work, because, you know, we have the RFP document tells you how to gather the bids and what the rules are for bids. And the contract document is there for public records, for the statutes, compliance, legal liability, certainty. And then it leans on the scope of work, so typically the contract document will say, tell us, you know, this is what you're doing, and by the way, it's all in Exhibit A, the scope of work, right? So we can tighten that, right? Or we can try to find generic catch-all terms to look at the scope of work if you wanted to work on that. But truly, it seems to me that for the next meeting, you might want to have a discussion about purchasing and sort of procurement, emergency procurement authority, and I guess that's it, Rich.
Okay.
Let me leave it to me.
We're cool with that. Anything else from the board? All right, we're gonna go to our reports. Becky, you wanna lead the way?
Yes,
Thank you. Yeah, that don't give me a timeout when I get home. I'm sleeping with the dogs tonight, but
8:30.
still sleeping with the dogs.
I'll even move here.
We've been working, I'll do this real quickly.
Go right.
Just working, they had a meeting, a quick meeting, a recap on the $1.6 million grant.
Good.
That's
what
they were
partnership
still,
with Henry County, right?
yeah,
Okay.
the partnership with Henry County, still waiting on the environmental part.
Okay.
So that's that, and then,
We checked all our boxes, right?
yes. Also with Ovid, we have, she started the actual, process for the, what we've been waiting for in regards to putting in our invoices.
Reimbursements?
The reimbursements, thank you. We actually finally got a direct answer, and it was that we were supposed to put a little exhibit H with everything. Again, like I said, the person's been changed 3 times in Tallahassee, so, but it's moving forward. We've been working on roads. We did, a few roads. My mind went blank right there for a second. Anyway, we've done from Hacienda through Appaloosa through Perimeter. We kind of worked on that. We did Avenida del Sur and Fronda going south.
Go ahead. I'm quiet. Go ahead.
Avenida del Sur and Fronda, we had to rebuild that road, so it's in millings. Okay. Also, Appaloosa and Lindero was another road that we rebuilt, which was with millings. And I'm talking about this one. The entrance of Avenida del Centro and 833 is what we graded and they fixed. If you notice it, we put millings at the front end.
I didn't see it. Go ahead.
Yeah, we put the millings in the front end.
Okay.
From Hacienda to, well, they graded it to Hacienda. And then on Hacienda end, they also did that part. That road, we haven't really tackled that area.
Which road?
Avenida del Centro area. due to the project that we wanna start with the culverts.
Drainage, right.
Yeah, so we don't wanna put a bunch of money in there right now and then have to tear up the roads.
That makes sense.
So, I mean, we made it passable, you know, so the vehicles can go through, but that's one of the projects that we have, hopefully for this year coming in and finishing Canal 13.
Okay.
Mr. Jeff gave me some of the plans. I believe I put them inside, with yeah, it's there. If you look inside, the engineering part, he gave us the information you asked for, Chair,
Okay.
in regards to the scope of work for the improvement of Canal 13.
Okay, good.
It's there, so, that's something that we're gonna work on this, new fiscal year as well.
Okay.
So, that's the main thing I'm targeting right now, being that we have that scope of work, and then it'll be Avenida del Centro drainage part.
So you wanna do this, and so with that being said, I don't want you to do it tonight, Jeff, but maybe next couple meetings, just kinda go over the scope of work for Canal 13 to the board, so we know what's going on.
Yeah. So, and again, just the roads that we're working on, we prep them before, so the boom mower goes through.
Yes, ma'am.
We've been on the levee, they've come out, South Florida Water Management came out again, Gary. Everything, we passed, another inspection. I got a letter from South Florida Management that we've kept the best management practice, from the years prior. Everything's growing out there, they're happy with us, and we've dropped even more. So, that's a plus for the district, and I'm just gonna leave it there. I mean, everything else unless you guys wanna ask me something. Clubhouse, we're still, if you've been to the clubhouse, I've taken down and we've repaired. It started with one area, but come to find out, that was all rotted out, there was black mold in there, I had to clean that out. So we've cleaned that out and we started painting, but my OCD kicks in. And it started, and I started painting and taking off everything that I felt that is going to beautify our community. So hopefully, and like I said, for Christmas, I know you want it before, I'm trying, but
No, you got till October 17th.
we could use the center, we still could use the center.
And we got a deadline.
It'll still be painted.
It'll be operational.
It'll be
Have
operational.
AC in there,
Maybe.
It has it has it.
Maybe.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So I think you guys will be, the
Yes,
community's gonna enjoy it a lot more.
I think so.
I will say that, I will say that.
I can agree with that. Yes, sir.
Yeah, and so, we do have, the permits are in effect, the new price change is in effect. And I also am going to bring to the board that we will be upping our charges for the rental, at the clubhouse.
That makes sense.
And I have some other ideas I'm gonna present to the board, not today, but we'll present it, I'll have it written out for you guys of what we wanna do, okay?
Anybody
So, I'll keep
questions?
it short.
Questions for Becky, the district manager?
I just have a quick question.
Go right ahead.
And, you know, it's just based on what I hear, but I know sometimes we stick to one little negative thing and we make that the standard all the time, right?
Okay.
So don't take it like but I'm just curious, like how often do we run the grader right now? Is it every day? Is it?
As long as the weather permits, yes. Mhm.
Is that throughout the year, or is that right now more because of the weather conditions, and then throughout the year, we're more on catching up or maintenance mode, or how do
So
we?
what we do is that from the month of, in our dry season,
Mhm.
in our dry season, we try to hit the roads as much as we can.
Okay.
And then, I've kinda set it up where I've had groups now. So I do have groups that are going ahead and some are starting, and we're doing the boom mower and we're taking care of culverts and cleaning culverts
Yeah.
and in different areas as the roads are being built as well. So, you know, it's flowing now, it's
Yeah.
flowing now. So it's all throughout the year. We
Yeah.
don't stop grading,
Okay.
okay? The thing is that sometimes if one of the graders, something happens to it, and I'm using both graders. So I use the new one and the old one.
Yeah.
So I'm taking advantage of both pieces of equipment that we have. And we have 2 dump trucks, but when one's down, then, you know, it's just adjusting and, you know, working what best we can do that day,
Yeah.
you know? So it, like I said, it's day to day, but we do what we do, we have to do.
I like the smaller group as well, because I
Mhm.
think, even though I think it's good to cross-train, I think sometimes you do have some guys that can be much better with this equipment or
Yeah.
that equipment.
They're more
And
efficient, yes,
sometimes for certain tasks, you may only need 2 people,
Correct.
right?
correct.
So if, like, I agree with that. I think it's better to separate and conquer than to kind of, you know, and then I think a lot of that kind of, it starts on your side. So I'm glad we're doing something like that, because I think that, you
So
know.
we're targeting, like I said, we target in different areas.
Okay.
So, and again, like right now, we don't go into the reservoir because of the raining
Yeah.
season, you know, but when it starts drying up, we'll continue to clean out what we've done, what we started,
Okay.
you know, so, we're not done there, you know,
Yeah.
and we've tackled a lot of big projects in the last 3 years,
Yes.
and I think we've shown our community that we're on top of what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
And I don't take credit for that, that's the team,
Yeah.
that's the team.
Well, I can tell you, like, on the north side, all this rain we got today, you can barely see rain starting to accumulate on the swells.
Mhm.
You know, 5 years ago, it probably would have filled up the swell right now. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And you can see a little bit, but it's not, you know, it's not like, oh my God, we're,
It
you know,
drains.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's
moving.
draining, yeah,
Water's
it's moving. So, you know, I know it's a team effort, so it's,
Clearly.
and I can tell you it's being noticed, because, you know,
Absolutely.
I mean, is everyone 100% happy? Probably
No.
not, but it's just like anything else, right? Nothing's perfect in this world, so, you know, there's always room for improvement. So I think as long as we're moving in that direction, you know, that's the important part.
Especially in that part of the section, yes, very low.
So, that's it.
I just got one thing, Becky, on Monterey Avenue, South Utopia, on the south side, that if you take a look at that vegetation, it's coming out past the street sign. So, I don't know if the back, what do you call it, the side, the thing that throws it on the side, I forget
The
what it's
boom
called.
mower.
The boom mower, if you guys could take a look at it, because it's starting to come out.
Arnold going cut back there? I believe he did, no? Maybe it was Ambria.
He
Because I
cut,
had two.
he
I had-
cut, but I'm just saying that vegetation now, the willows and stuff are getting closer to the road.
Okay, I'll check it out,
Yes, please. Because there's some side roads, like Brazilian peppers and
Yes.
stuff like that, they're way out. So if our team can, you know, push them back, it'd be greatly appreciated. All right, thank you, Becky. Moving on, engineer's report.
Engineers report. Utility permit review. Reviewed and approved electric utility permit applications and completed review of the revised Comcast permit submittal during the reporting period. Request for proposal 26-01, current project you just
Yes.
completed, Montero Ave road restoration. Performed on-site review of construction progress and verified completed work. Evaluated the need for a change order based on field conditions.
Sure.
Pavement marking installation is currently being scheduled.
Okay.
Actually, it's scheduled for this Friday.
Good.
A request for proposal 2602, Cabbage Palm. That's from Hunting Club Road to Perimeter. So that's currently in progress, putting together plans and RFP. The goal is to have it done and everything completed by the time we have October's meeting. Let me know if that time frame still works for you guys, no?
Still works for me.
Okay.
What do we take into account for these? I'm not sure, because that, well, the intersections, the two intersections, how far will they go into the intersection? So for instance, when you say Cabbage Palm Hunting Club, so if we're going down Cabbage Palm, we hit Hunting Club, is it gonna be the square, is it gonna go out a few, or is it just gonna stay on,
Where does it
Okay.
begin?
No, like the aprons.
right,
From
the
the apron
apron?
on the south side.
Okay, so we're gonna take care of the aprons
Yeah.
as well on both intersection, Appaloosa?
We have to.
I'm just asking, just wanna make sure.
We have to.
I'm not saying we're not.
It's the right thing to do.
Okay, just wanted to ask that, because if it's not in there, they're, you know, again, my boss always says, hey, you didn't, they bid on exactly what you asked them. So I just don't wanna leave it for chance, I wanna make sure the aprons. take care of. Okay, good. Thank you.
Canal 13 swale, prepared swale detail and scope of work for implementation by district staff. And then, water management district permit, requested an extension of general permit and will prepare the renewal application for submittal.
Gotcha. Thank you for that, Jeff. Any questions for the engineering report? No questions, moving on. Dina, you ready? She's lagging.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, waiting on, all right, you have
If
the
you pull
floor.
out the budget versus actual, we'll go through that one.
Yes, ma'am. We're ready.
Alright, for the year, you should be at 83% or less on line items. Taking out the carryover from the prior balance, the budget is 3.6 million. To date, you've collected 3,685,277. So you've got all your tax revenue collected. Going down for capital outlays, that's gonna increase, but as of the end of July, you only used 12.74% of it.
Okay.
Going down to community programs, golf is over budget. We increased it for next year, and Becky's gonna wait to make purchases till October 1st, when we have the new budget amount.
That's fine.
Going down for debt services, you're at 75%. The two that are at 100, they're 2 payments a year, so you're done for the rest of the year with them. Going to admin operations, legal advertising, you're at 87%, which is just slightly over budget. The board and admin, the total is at 26%, so you're under budget there. Going down, the auditor was way over budget. We increased it a little bit for next year, but it was all the out of scope work that they had to do to get John Hoy's stuff to match beginning balances in QuickBooks. So you won't have that next year.
All right.
Equipment rental, that one is over. We increased the budget for next year to 30,000.
I see.
Plus, we're gonna be purchasing some new equipment, so that won't be high. It was high for this month because we had to rent a loader.
Yes, ma'am.
Capital outlay, the grant management, that's high because of Culpeper, which you should get reimbursed for from the grants, I believe.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So total professional services, you're at 92% of the total amount budgeted for those line items. Going down to discounts and commissions, that's the money the county charges you or takes from the assessments that they send to you, and you're under budget at 54%. Property appraiser fees are at 94%, but that's a once-a-year fee, so it's done for the rest of the year. So overall, for general government expenses, you're right on line at 82.84%. Going down to the maintenance and rebuilding of the roads, both of those are at 100%, and I'm
Sure.
pretty sure they're done for now, right, Becky?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am, for sure.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Then going down to infrastructure maintenance, you're at 89%, so you're slightly over budget on street signs and canal levies overall. Supplies are high for this month because a spill container was bought for like $2,000. And we could just keep supplies and try to push off as much as we can till October, you'll be good. Going down to repairs, that one was high this month because there were drive shaft repairs, software updates, a radiator, a gearbox on certain equipment. There were a lot of repairs this month. Which we kept the line item for next year's budget the same, but repairs should go down with new equipment being purchased. Clubhouse repairs is high because of the AC. Wages, those line items have been readjusted So even though some are over, overall, you're at 75% of the budget. So you're under the 83% that you should be at for this time of the year. Professional development, it was the district membership this month was $3,000. It's a once a year thing. We did increase the budget slightly for next year. Uniforms are pretty much done for the year, so that one should stay about the same. Overall, total personnel services is under budget at 76%. Then going down to security and safety, under budget at 24%. Utilities, that we needed to increase a little for next year, because we're already at 100% and still have 2 months left. Sanitation, that's just all the tires that were disposed of throughout the year. So the total budget for income was 3.6 million. You've collected an extra 79,422. It's the same amount for expenses, 3.6 million. As of the date of this report, you have spent 3.1 million, which is about 88% of the budget, and you have 433,000 left until the end of September.
Okay,
Do you have any questions?
floor is open, board, any questions, comments?
So we're gonna be under budget, Dina, that's what you're telling me.
We're gonna be close.
Very close.
Did you hear the question?
I don't think you'll be under budget, you'll be very close, because there have been some, more expenses that have come in August for the clubhouse repairs. But I don't see
You almost
anything
broke even.
causing you to go
You pay
away.
for your code enforcement right there.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm good.
Thank you, Dean, I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Treasury report, Stephanie, you got it?
So, Mr. Chair, the only thing on the report you have, the only thing that's on here that we haven't discussed just, in the regular course of business is this thing about the cattle grazing. So we did look into it, John and I both, we reviewed my work. It's entirely possible. What we did was respond to the gentleman who came in asking about it.
Sure.
Saying, okay, you can do it. Now, go give us a workable lease document that we can review, hire a professional, and what he has asked, and Becky can fill in the details, it's just to walk the land and see what's viable. So the worst case scenario there seems to me not that, even if we enter into this lease and this person doesn't really know how to run the operation and it all goes south, then are we holding, grazing land with some cattle on it, then we gotta figure out how to dispose of it, meaning how to sell it. That's the only, I don't think there's anything else. John's points were all about this particular lessee knowing his stuff as to the district, right? So that's gonna be the whole thing.
Sure.
It's not a bad thing having cattle, but, they impact water quality and this, that, and the other thing. So we basically said, it's legally doable, you figure it out and bring it to us, and then we can do the legal review. In order for us not to break our heads and then have it not happen.
Gotcha.
In order for us not to expend a bunch of administrative and legal time on it and it not happen. But answer, legal.
Okay.
It's doable.
All right, cool.
The rest of the stuff you saw, everything else here is, you did it, you approved it.
Okay. Any questions for the attorney? Go right
I
ahead.
just got a question, just on the cattle, I mean, sounds like a great idea, but I just think it, thinking about the numbers and the pricing, per acre that we would get, there's not a whole lot in it for us, you know what I mean?
Agreed.
It's just, it's totally different than, for example, when we did the berries or even talking about the gators, but when you're talking about, I don't know, $10, $12, $15 an acre, then it's like.
So, Mr. Cortez, that's what I'm saying. Don't
It's
make it heavy
just
lift
my
for us.
opinion.
I'm saying you make it a heavy
Yeah,
lift for
yeah.
you.
Yeah,
and if
exactly.
We'll review the work. If there's a leasehold thing, then
Yeah.
we'll go a different
Yeah.
direction.
No,
Because this was also true, Mr. Cortez, for the proposed school. So the school, the one gentleman came in, he wanted to set up a school using portables, also doable, I don't think I've heard back, I don't know if Becky has heard back, we would say the same thing. You prove it up, that it's
Exactly.
lawful,
Yeah.
figure out how you'd like to do it, and we can do really good.
Good.
I agree.
appreciate it.
Oh,
Thank
just, I forgot something, board. Going back to the mailboxes. When they pulled out the portables, they cut the light out to the mailbox. I gave them a little portable generator to use, so at least they had something, because that's under Henry County School. Henry County School has nothing to do with Henry County. They've been going back and forth. Now, I meant to ask the board, because it's like I told, Commissioner Atkinson, that's why he came, but he had to leave. When he got the phone call, he had to leave. Was if we want to temporarily connect the light there, because this is the thing. Blake said that since it's on our property, we would have to give them permission as if they were leasing that building. To give Henry County permission to put light in there. And it's like I told Minister Atkinson, I said, this goes back to what we've been saying from day one. There's never been interlocal agreements between you guys, us, and the post office to take responsibility for the maintenance of this building. We throw out the trash because we have the trash there. I was like, but nobody takes responsibility. You guys had to come out of pocket for the roof because Central County wasn't gonna do it. Because at the end, as long as that bird is sitting up there on that sticker, that it's a federal building because there is mail in there. I was like, but when the doors would break down, back in the days, we were the ones fixing it. And so, again, I said, I will come to the board and ask for permission if we will temporarily put the light until you guys figure out, and we come into an agreement of what's gonna happen moving forward. Because that's gonna be another question that's gonna come up with the new facility that they're gonna put as well. So I just wanted to,
So should we put an embargo, like, huh? Tariffs on this thing?
yeah, sure,
I'm talking about.
50%. All the happy and,
Yeah, we say, sorry, we can't do it, it's not part of our mandate. No, we hear that a lot.
Oh, yeah, roadways, drainage and recreation.
yeah.
So they're
And
paying.
it's on our property, so maybe they should take one of their properties and move everything over there.
1031.
So what's being asked is for us to open an account for them to
Well-
temporarily use this?
If I can have them, just add that to,
So we're paying the bill?
yeah, we'll be flipping the bill for like $30 a month,
So what about with that?
maybe.
What about with that cord that's hooked up to that junction box right now that's underneath there? What does that have?
But that's what I'm saying, they would have to just transfer it to ours.
No, have you seen?
They have it rolled up on the side.
No, it's not rolling up on the side. I'll talk to you later afterwards so we can keep this thing closed. So, do we want to grant permission, board, for them to temporary service?
She has no light, and there's no ventilation, no nothing.
We have a choice.
Oh, we got a choice.
We have a choice. I'm just coming to the board because, I mean, again, we'll have to figure it out once they get together the plans and whatever, we're gonna come into agreement with them.
So with no lights, no AC, should be moving faster, right?
Yeah, right.
I'm back.
No mail.
I'm asking, baby.
What's the board want to do?
Generator.
I gave her a generator. The thing is that the fumes get back into the little, because there's nothing breathing in there.
Probably more
That's, I gave them, I lent it to her, it's a small one, enough to where you could add a fan.
Run a fan?
Yeah, run the fan, but you have to run the light too. Because the light's above and this one is from the side, so it's not the same. Again, I'm bringing it to you, let the board decide.
Sounds like a code violation.
Sound like next meeting, huh?
Yeah.
Sounds like that's,
The code enforcement has come
Well,
out.
that's what I'm saying, like,
Yeah.
I mean, I would think there's certain rules with that if you're going in, because you said it has the eagle on top, so that's like a government building, right? It doesn't have lighting and,
Where's Mr. Daniel when you need him? Oh, he's still stuck in traffic.
Let's leave them in traffic, because if not, we'll be here another 4 hours.
So, what do we wanna do? I mean, I can't make a motion, I can't do anything. I'm just a chairman.
How much is it cost? $70?
The motion would be just to add it to what we pay right now towards the clubhouse. Add that extension to, so that they can have power there. Until such time that we figure out with the new, boxes and stuff that they wanna add.
I guess, motion to run power to the clubhouse. You know, till they get done.
Temporary.
Temporary.
Yeah.
So we have a motion on the floor for temporary power so they can have, the lights in the, post office area. Do you have a second?
Second.
Have a second, all in favor?
All right.
Thank you.
Barely passed, 3-0. All right, moving on to
I'm done.
barely
Good.
passed. We're good?
I'm good.
And I'm good. Thank you, everybody. Meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.